Doupo, outstanding intelligence. Starting by joining the chat group. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151. The Soul Palace Guardian reappears. Xiao Fan casually destroyed Han Feng's chi cultivation, and said to Yan, Yanzi, "This guy is handed over to you." Then, Xiao Fan said to the two old men, "Jin Yin, stop." Yan thanked Xiao Fan, then carried the disabled Han Feng to the side to talk alone. "What do you want?" The two old men, Jin Yin, were stopped by Xiao Fan and said with a wary look on their faces. Xiao Fan said indifferently, "Give you two choices, surrender or die." Too much bullying. The two old men, Jin Yin, spoke coldly at the same time, and then they clenched their left and right hands tightly, and a very strong light green chi shot out towards Xiao Fan. Xiao Fan shook his head slightly. "It seems that you have chosen a dead end." After the voice fell, Xiao Fan's fingers moved slightly, and two lightning arcs were quickly ejected, which instantly pierced through the foreheads of the two old men, Jin Yin. Plop, plop, the sound of two heavy objects falling to the ground sounded, and the two old men, Jin Yin, lost their breath almost at the same time, and their bodies fell heavily. At the center of their brows, each of them had a hole that smelled of burnt. Xiao Fan came to Fengcheng this time not only to kill people and rob money, but also to deter other forces in the Black Horn region. Leaving the bodies of the two elders, Jin and Yin, intact would have a better deterrent effect. After killing the two elders, Xiao Fan took a step forward, walked to the two of them, and took off the rings on their fingers. After all, the lifelong collection of a Huang peak level strong man is still of some value. Even if Xiao Fan himself can't use it, he can give it to Yaf and put it in the newly opened auction house for auction. On the other side, Yan mentioned Han Feng to one side, and Yao Chen in the ring couldn't help but float out directly. "You're not dead." Seeing Yao Chen, Han Feng's face suddenly changed, and he spoke in disbelief. Han Feng clearly remembered that Yao Chen had been killed at the time. Yao Chen said coldly, "You beast, you didn't expect that I was lucky enough not to die." On the way to Fengcheng, Yao Chen had already told Yan about what happened that year. Yan looked at Han Feng with contempt. "The teacher raised you with kindness and trained you to become a pharmacist respected by countless people. You turned out to be ungrateful and framed the teacher. You are really a wolf and a dog." Han Feng was shocked and angry. "Humphrey, who do you think you are? What qualifications do you have to say me?" If he had passed the burning art to me earlier, how could I have done it to him? I have no regrets about what happened back then, but I just regret that I didn't get the burning art. Yao Chen looked at Han Feng's unrepentant look and sighed, "Forget it, Yan, leave it to you." After saying that, Yao Chen's soul shook for a while and disappeared into the bone flame ring again. "You are worse than a beast. You, a traitor to your teacher, should die." Yan didn't want to talk nonsense with Han Feng, so he said coldly, and at the same time, the Zhu Yuanzhang ruler in his hand suddenly smashed towards Han Feng's forehead. Buzz. At this moment, a space fluctuation suddenly appeared at the location where Han Feng was, and Yan was easily bounced out. Yan suddenly turned over and landed on the ground again, holding the Zhu Yuanzhang ruler, his face full of solemnity. At this time, Xiao Fan had just finished exploring the storage rings of the two elders, Jin and Yin, and also sensed the spatial fluctuations. He immediately flashed and appeared beside Yan, looking at the place where the spatial fluctuations came from. There, a strange black fog floated in the air, and a human figure could be vaguely seen in the center of the black fog. "Haha, you can't kill me. Not only that, you will all die here today." Han Feng saw this, and immediately showed joy on his face and shouted loudly. Xiao Fan looked at Han Feng's appearance and smiled faintly. "Really? I don't believe it." As soon as the voice fell, Xiao Fan slapped Han Feng with a palm. Bang! With a loud bang, Han Feng's body was directly slapped by Xiao Fan's palm. The strange sea of fire in Han Feng's body broke away from his body and floated in the air. "Ah, damn it, you dare to kill me. Soul Palace will not let you go." Unexpectedly, Han Feng's soul was separated from his body, and he roared at Xiao Fan and Xiao Yan in a rage. Soul Sword, Xiao Fan said lightly, and the terrifying soul power instantly condensed into an invisible sword, and instantly slashed at Han Feng. Swish! In an instant, Han Feng's soul was chopped into pieces by the soul sword, and turned into energy and dissipated into the air. All this is a long story, but in fact it was just a matter of a moment. Seeing Han Feng being killed by Xiao Fan, and even his soul was scattered, an angry voice suddenly came from the black fog. Asshole! Dare to kill my soul palace people, you are looking for death. The figure in the black fog was the guardian Zhuan Yi, who was arranged by the Soul Palace to monitor Han Feng. He had only left for a while before, but he didn't expect Han Feng to be beaten to death. While Zhuan Hufa was shouting, two black chains suddenly shot out from the black fog towards Xiao Fan's chest. You guys are the ghosts again. Xiao Fan frowned slightly when he saw Zhuan Hufa's attack. At the same time, his mind moved slightly and he directly used the heaven-devouring and earth-devouring divine power. The next moment, a mysterious black vortex appeared on Xiao Fan's chest. From the black vortex, a terrifying devouring force surged out, directly devouring the two black chains that Zhuan Hufa attacked. Then, the terrifying devouring force swallowed up all the black fog around Zhuan Hufa. In a flash, Zhuan Hufa's somewhat ugly figure showed his original appearance, wearing a black robe, and his eyes were full of scarlet. What is your method? Zhuan Hufa looked at Xiao Fan with a slightly solemn expression. Xiao Fan said calmly, you should take this question and catch up with Han Feng. After that, Xiao Fan spit out the power of thunder from his palm, instantly wrapping up Zhuan the Guardian. Encountering the thunder attack, Zhuan the Guardian couldn't help but scream, trying desperately to struggle and resist, but in vain. After a series of screams, he was directly chopped into charcoal by the power of thunder. At this time, the sea heart flame floating in the air seemed to sense the danger and wanted to float away. Seeing this, Xiao Fan casually laid a battle spirit barrier around the sea heart flame, imprisoning it in place. Looking at Xiao Yan next to him, Xiao Fan said, you should absorb this strange fire as well. Thank you, third brother. Xiao Yan heard what Xiao Fan said and hurriedly thanked Xiao Fan. Xiao Fan sucked the rings of Han Feng and Zhuan the Guardian with his hand, and took out a pill cauldron from Han Feng's ring. It was the Wanzu cauldron that Han Feng used to refine medicine. I'll give you this pill cauldron as well. I'll take all the other things. Xiao Yan said, these things should have belonged to you, third brother. Xiao Fan smiled and said nothing more. He called Yuf, Ziyan and King Lin to search Han Feng's mansion together. As for the servants in Han Feng's mansion, most of them fled in panic. A few wanted to fish in troubled waters, but Xiao Fan sent them on their way. After searching Han's mansion, Xiao Fan and his friends reunited again. Xiao Fan said to them, I plan to change the name of Fengcheng to Lei. Yuf will open an auction house in Lei to maintain the operation of Lei and collect some pills, exercises and other treasures. Do you have any suggestions? Chapter 152 Kai Lin, I was not wrong about you. Ziyan frowned and said, what's the point of opening an auction house? Xiao Fan smiled slightly. You want to eat spiritual medicine, but you think it's too troublesome to search in the mountains. As long as the auction house develops, it will be much easier to collect spiritual medicine. Ziyan's eyes lit up when she heard it. That's good. When the auction house collects spiritual medicine, you can refine it into pills for me to eat. Xiao Fan smiled and said, so, before the auction house develops, you have to help too. Ziyan patted her chest and said loudly, no problem. Xiao Yan pondered for a moment and said, third brother, are you going to be the Lord of Lei yourself? Xiao Fan raised his eyebrows slightly. What's wrong? What do you think? Xiao Yan said, if you, third brother, come forward directly, on the one hand, you will be completely exposed to the outside world, and there may be some unnecessary trouble. On the other hand, third brother, you are now an elder of the inner court of Canaan College, and other forces in the Black Horn region are hostile to Canaan College, and Lei may become the target of public criticism. Xiao Fan smiled and said, Xiao Yanzi, you are quite thoughtful. I plan to follow the example of the Dean of Canaan College. Although I will be the city lord, I will not show my face and will not announce my identity. In addition, I will appoint a deputy city lord to sit in Lei, Xiao Fan did this not because he was worried about becoming the target of public criticism in the Black Horn region. He did not take the forces in the Black Horn region seriously. Xiao Fan was worried that if he was too high profile, he would attract the attention of the Soul Palace or even the Soul Clan. If he sent it Zun level, it would not matter. If he sent it Sheng, it would be dangerous. For the sake of prudence, Xiao Fan did not intend to fully expose his identity. Xiao Yan scratched his head when he heard this and said awkwardly, "So third brother had thought of it a long time ago." "I was worrying too much." Xiao Fan smiled and said, "It's not that I'm worrying too much. Let's brainstorm together." You've said at this time, Master Xiao Fan said before that if we seize Feng Chen and establish our prestige in the Black Horn region, maybe hanging the corpse of the Emperor on the city gate will have a better effect. It's a pity that the medicine Emperor Han Feng has become minced meat. Xiao Fan smiled slightly when he heard this. It's enough to just hang the corpses of the two peaked emperors. Yif nodded and said, "Yeah." Xiao Fan said, "Next, you recruit people to build the auction house team. I will provide you with elixirs of various levels as one of the auction items. For example, Lingdan, Huangjidan, Bozongdan, etc. In addition, try to collect some items." Yif said confidently, "Master Xiao Fan, don't worry. With such generous resources provided by you, I will definitely be able to run the auction house well." Xiao Fan nodded slightly. "You stay here first. I'll bring a few people over." Yif and the others had no objection to this. Xiao Fan immediately stepped into the air and soon arrived at Heping Town. He took Xiaoxiao and Zhao Wu, as well as Zhao Jin, Ziyi and the little purple crystal-winged Lion King, and returned to the mansion that originally belonged to Han Feng. Xiao Fan briefly introduced both parties, and then said, "I plan to let Ziyi serve as the deputy city lord and stay in Leying to guard. With Ziyi's 7th level strength, anyone below the 3-star Zha can be easily subdued. If I encounter an enemy that Ziyi cannot solve, I will personally come forward." Ziyi hurriedly said, "Thank you for your appreciation. My subordinate will definitely not let you down." "Well," Xiao Fan nodded slightly, without saying much. Afterwards, Xiao Fan gave some instructions, leaving Yif, Xiaoxiao, Zhao Wu, Ziyi and the little purple crystal-winged Lion King behind, and took the others back to Canaan College. Xiao Fan originally planned to let Ziyi go to the Zhao family in Yuten City as the Zhao family's trump card just in case. But now Fan has changed his mind because he has a better choice. After reuniting with Zhao Jin this time, Xiao Fan discovered that Zhao Jin had a new ability, that is, he could change his size at will. Xiao Fan planned to let Zhao Jin change into the size of a pet bird and stay with Zhao Zhan. With Zhao Jin around, the Zhao family would be safer. As for Xiao Fan himself, now that he has the ability to travel through space, Zhao Jin's role in staying by his side is basically not much. After bringing Xiao Yan, Ziyan and King Lin back to the academy, Xiao Fan took Zhao Jin and went directly back to the Zhao family and introduced Zhao Jin to Zhao Zhan. However, Xiao Fan did not tell Zhao Zhan how strong Zhao Jin was. Only the trump card that even the people themselves don't know is the most effective trump card. After sending Zhao Jin back to the Zhao family, Xiao Fan suddenly remembered that the heavenly soul melting blood pill that he promised to give to Kai Lin had been refined but not yet sent. So Xiao Fan broke through the space again and rushed to the territory of the snake people. "Why are you here?" In the palace of the queen of the snake people, Kai Lin saw Xiao Fan suddenly appear, and the joy in her eyes flashed away, and she asked indifferently. Xiao Fan came forward and hugged Kai Lin's slender waist, saying gently, "I missed you, so I came to see you." Kai Lin said lightly, "Let me go. Who told you to miss me?" While speaking, Kai Lin directly mobilized her fighting spirit and struggled for a while. She felt that she could not break free, so she gave up. Although she said this, Medusa was still very happy to see Xiao Fan again. Xiao Fan said casually, "It's our daughter who made me miss you. She told me that you always miss me every day, but I haven't come for a long time. She asked me to come and see you and her at the same time, so I came." Kai Lin's expression suddenly became a little unnatural when she heard Xiao Fan's words, because when she was alone, she occasionally told her daughter in her belly about Xiao Fan. However, Kai Lin would not admit it at this moment. "Nonsense, I never talked about you. And how did my daughter tell you this?" Xiao Fan smiled and said, "Through telepathy." "Come, let me listen to see if our daughter is naughty." As he spoke, Xiao Fan turned to Kailin, leaned over Kailin's belly and listened carefully, but unfortunately there was no sound. However, Xiao Fan could sense that the breath of the young life had become stronger. Kailin looked at Xiao Fan's attentive listening, and couldn't help showing a bit of tenderness in her eyes. After listening for a while, Xiao Fan raised his head and smiled. "It seems that our daughter is very well behaved and not naughty at all," Kailin said. "We will know whether she is well behaved or not after she is born. In addition, do you really have nothing else to do this time?" Xiao Fan said softly. "Didn't I promise you before that I would refine a heavenly soul blood melting pill to nourish our daughter's pregnancy? Now that it is refined, I will send it to you." Kailin was a little excited when she heard it. "Is it really refined?" "Yes, look, this is the heavenly soul blood melting pill." Xiao Fan smiled slightly, took out the porcelain bottle containing the heavenly soul blood melting pill from the ring, and handed it to Kailin. Kailin reached out to take the porcelain bottle, opened the stopper, looked at the heavenly soul blood melting pill inside. Her eyes were full of surprise, and her heart was also a little warm. After looking for a while, Kailin put away the pill, took the initiative to hug Xiao Fan and kissed him for the first time. "Xiao Fan, I was not wrong about you." Xiao Fan felt the touch of Kailin's enchanting body, and his heart was slightly agitated. He leaned close to Kailin's ear and whispered, "What if I was wrong? I might as well take off my clothes and let you see it clearly." After that, Xiao Fan picked up Kailin by the waist and walked towards the bedroom. Chapter 153, News about the Divine Dragon, coming back to the world of wind and cloud. After Kailin's blood evolved, it has now become the blood of the nine-colored sky-swallowing python. Its physique is far stronger than that of ordinary people. Xiao Fan took Kailin's hand and strolled casually in the territory of the snake people. Seeing that many male snake people in the snake people looked indignant, Xiao Fan couldn't help but laugh secretly, but he didn't bother to argue with them. The beauty has been taken by him, and these people can only be helpless and furious. Xiao Fan leaned close to Kailin's ear and chuckled. "It seems that I took away their queen, and these snake people are very unwilling." Kailin heard it and hurriedly said, "Don't mess around." Xiao Fan smiled and said, "Don't worry, I won't argue with them. Who made me take away the goddess in their hearts? It's normal to be jealous." Kailin couldn't help but roll his eyes at him when he heard what Xiao Fan said. The two of them talked and laughed while strolling in the king's city of the snake people, and they were quite happy. Xiao Fan accompanied Kailin in the snake tribe for 3 days, watching Kailin take the heavenly soul melting blood pill, then said goodbye again and returned to Canaan College. After returning to Canaan College, Xiao Fan occasionally went to the Tanfan refining chi tower to practice, or went to Leiying to check the progress of the auction house. Most of the time, he was with King Lin and Ziyan, and his days were leisurely and comfortable. Yev said that it would take about a month to prepare for the auction house and publicize it to everyone in the Black Horn region. At the same time, the entire Black Horn region was in a state of intense agitation because of the change of ownership of Feng Cheng and the death of the two elders Jin and Yin. There is a black list of strong people in the Black Horn region, and the two elders Jin and Yin are at the top of the blacklist. The name of Han Feng, the Medicine King, also resounds throughout the Black Horn region. These three people had accidents at the same time, and Feng Cheng was directly changed to Lei. Even the bodies of the two elders Jin and Yin were hung at the gate of the city. Everyone else in the Black Horn region was in a panic. I guessed in my heart, who was the one who took action to seize the city of Medicine King Han Feng and killed the three strong men. Xiao Fan didn't really take these things to heart. Every day, in addition to instructing King Lin and Ziyan, he would also sign into the chat group and chat with members from other worlds in the group to kill time. On this day, Xiao Fan was chatting with the members in the chat group as usual. Suddenly, the news of Zhongba made Xiao Fan pay a little attention. Zhongba, as Xiao Fan, Lord Thunder Emperor, you asked me to send someone to find out the whereabouts of the dragon before, and now there is news. However, with my current strength, I can't deal with the dragon. Do you think you can do it yourself, or wait until I break through the land immortal, and then take the dragon for you to use as a mount? Xiao Fan, as Zhongba, I have nothing to do anyway, so I might as well go directly to your world and take down the dragon myself. Yan Lingjai, is there really a dragon? I thought it was just a legend. And I also want to see it. Huang Rong, in our world, there is also a legend of the dragon, Qian Renxu. In our world, there is no legend of the dragon, but it is said that there was a dragon god, who was the first generation of soul beasts. He was very powerful and almost no other strong people in the god realm could match him. Linkingzu. There are also dragons in our world. They live in the demon domain and are one of the 4 overlords of the demon domain. Moreover, the dragon clan is extremely powerful in the entire Tanxuan continent. Most people dare not provoke them easily. Xiaoxiao. In fact, you think too much. The dragon god in Qian Renxu's world and the dragon in Zomba's world are just stronger beasts. They are a world away from the dragons in various worlds. Xiao Fan. Xiaoxiao's story is good. Moreover, the dragon in Zomba's world, although called a lucky beast, is actually a powerful beast, but most of the time, it is sleeping in the sea and will not appear in the world. Xiaoxiao. In Zomba's world, there are actually people who have been plotting against the dragon and want to slaughter it to obtain the dragon essence. Zomba. I wonder who Miss Su is talking about? Xiaoxiao. This man was originally named Zufu, and later he named himself Emperor Shitian. In your world, he can be said to be a very powerful existence. He has lived from the Qin Shi Huang period to the present, and has lived for 1 or 2,000 years. Zhu Yuanzhang. What? Lived for 2,000 years? Shocked. Wan. He can actually live for 2,000 years. It seems that this guy's strength should not be underestimated. Diegu. Zufu. Why does this name sound familiar? Xiaoxiao. According to rumors, Zufu sailed east and brought 3,000 boys and girls from the Qin dynasty, and then your country was established. Zufu is considered your ancestor. Smirk. Yi Wen. Yes. There is such a saying in our world. Lin Jiayu. It's the same here. Xiao Fan. The historical backgrounds of everyone's world are not the same, but some are similar. For example, the worlds of Yi Wen and Lin Jiayu are almost in the same period, which is equivalent to parallel worlds. There is no need to worry about these. Dongba. I wonder when Master Xiao will be free to come over. Dongba knew that there was a being like Emperor Shitian hidden in their world, and he could not help but feel a sense of crisis. If Xiao Fan went to their world and caught the dragon, he could get rid of the guy called Emperor Shitian. Wouldn't he be safer? Xiao Fan. I just don't have anything to do, so I can go there now. Yan Lingjai. I want to go too. Gang leader Zhang, please invite me too. Thank you. Huang Rong. I want to go too. Raise your hand. Xiaoxiao. Lord Thunder Emperor, please take me with you. After the demon crisis in our world has been resolved, I have nothing to do every day. It's very boring. Can. I don't have anything to do recently. Can you take me with you? Xiao Fan. As long as Dongba has no objection, I don't mind. Dongba. No problem. I will invite everyone now. Just agree to the invitation. After that, Dongba sent the invitation directly through the chat group. Xiao Fan did not hesitate and accepted the invitation immediately. In an instant, he was shuttled to the Fenian world through the chat group. Soon, Huang Rong, Yan Lingjai, Xiaoxiao, and Qian also traveled to the Fenian world. Welcome everyone. In the Fenian world, the Tanxia first floor, Dongba saw Xiao Fan and the others coming and hurriedly stepped forward to greet them. Although Dongba was quite powerful in the Fenian world, he did not dare to be negligent in front of Xiao Fan. Xiao Fan nodded and said, "The time you can stay in the Fenian world is limited, so let's go directly to the location of the dragon." Dongba immediately said, "Okay, I will lead the way for Master Xiao and the others." Xiao Fan pondered for a moment and said to Huang Rong and the other 4 girls, "Wait a moment. I and gang leader Zhang will come back to pick you up after we arrive at the destination." Why not together? Yan Lingjai heard this and was a little puzzled. Huang Rong, Qian and Xiaoxiao also looked at Xiao Fan with some doubts. Xiao Fan said, "You are too slow, and I can't take you all with me. After I take Dongba to the destination, I will dare the space to come back and pick you up." All right. The 4 girls looked at each other helplessly, but Xiao Fan's arrangement was undoubtedly the most suitable. After Xiao Fan finished his instructions, he directly picked up Dongba in one hand and flew away quickly in the direction indicated by Dongba. Xiao Fan and Zhongba had just arrived at Shenlong Island when they suddenly sensed that there was a strong breath nearby, as if they were secretly spying on them. Chapter 154 The Death of Indra and the Angry Dragon. Xiao Fan put Zhongba down and casually swung his palm towards a hidden corner. Bang! There was a bang. The air shook, and smoke and dust rose. The original small hill was instantly collapsed by Xiao Fan's palm power, and the original place turned into a huge pit hundreds of feet deep. Hey, 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 don't do it, a somewhat old voice came from the smoke and dust. At the same time, an old man with long hair, wearing a gray cloth gown, and a kind face appeared in the sight of Xiao Fan and Zhongba. I am Zhu Fu, meet you too. I just passed by here unintentionally and saw two powerful men appear. In order to avoid misunderstanding, I hid aside temporarily. I have no other intentions. After the old man appeared, he took the initiative to greet Xiao Fan and Zhongba, and then explained. Zhongba's expression changed slightly when he heard the words, "Are you Zhu Fu?" While asking the question, Zhongba carefully sensed for a while, but found that he could not see through Zhu Fu at all. He immediately understood in his heart that this person must be the one Xiaoxiao mentioned before. Zhu Fu smiled and said, I didn't expect that someone in the martial arts world knew me. Xiao Fan said indifferently, you didn't just pass by chance, but came here to investigate the situation of the dragon, right? Zhu Fu's heart sank slightly when he heard this, but his face remained expressionless. Is there really a dragon? I just heard the legend of the dragon, but I don't know whether it is true or not. Xiao Fan shook his head slightly. Okay, Emperor Shiden, you don't have to pretend anymore. I was going to find you, but now that you've come to me, it saves me a lot of trouble. Zhu Fu, also known as Emperor Shiden, heard what Xiao Fan said and pretended to be puzzled. Sir, did you recognize the wrong person? He was still thinking about using different identities to walk around the martial arts world and tease the heroes of the martial arts world, but he didn't want to expose his true situation. Xiao Fan saw that Emperor Shiden was still pretending, and he suddenly became a little impatient. He stretched out his hand, and an invisible giant hand suddenly appeared and suddenly pinched Emperor Shiden's neck. Emperor Shiden didn't expect that Xiao Fan would attack as soon as he said so, and he didn't expect that Xiao Fan's strength was so strong that he was easily controlled by Xiao Fan. Emperor Shiden's face changed drastically. Who are you? What do you want to do? Xiao Fan said casually, my purpose is the same as yours. We are both here to find the dragon. In addition, I am also very interested in the Sacred Heart Sutra you practiced. Emperor Shiden screamed, I am almost strangled to death by you. Let me go first. While screaming, Emperor Shiden used all his strength to try to break free from Xiao Fan's control. The momentum emanating from his body directly pressed Zhongba to retreat again and again. Emperor Shiden's strength was much stronger than his, but in Xiao Fan's hands, he was still like a little chicken, without any resistance. This made Zhongba have a new understanding of Xiao Fan's strength. Xiao Fan's eyes flickered slightly, and he said to Emperor Shitian, look into my eyes. Although Emperor Shitian felt a strong sense of crisis, Xiao Fan's voice was full of magic, which made him look at Xiao Fan's eyes involuntarily. In an instant, his mind was out of his control. This was exactly what Xiao Fan deduced from the soul transferring method in the 9 Yin manual, and with the powerful soul power, he formed a soul-stealing technique that could easily control the minds of people whose cultivation was not as good as his own, and make them speak their minds. Under the effect of Xiao Fan's terrifying soul-stealing technique, Emperor Shitian quickly passed on the practice of the Sacred Heart Sutra to Xiao Fan without missing a word. After obtaining the content of the practice of the Sacred Heart Sutra, Xiao Fan's mind moved slightly, and the invisible giant hand suddenly tightened, instantly crushing Emperor Shitian. Emperor Shitian didn't even have time to scream, and he died tragically on the spot. Zhongba's eyelids twitched slightly when he saw this, and he was even more glad that he had joined the Wanji chat group, and he had always been humble in front of Xiao Fan. Otherwise, he would have ended up like Emperor Shitian. Wait for me first, I'll bring Huang Rong and the others here, Xiao Fan said lightly without paying attention to Zhongba's changing thoughts, and then directly in front of Zhongba, he broke a space wormhole. Then, Xiao Fan stepped into the space wormhole and went to Tanxiahui. Zhongba looked at this amazing scene and secretly warned himself in his heart that he must never offend Xiao Fan at any time. In Tanxiahui, Huangrong, Yan Lingjai, Su Xiaoxiao and Qian, the four girls, were waiting a little bored, and suddenly saw the space wormhole in front of them, and they all showed joy, because they knew that in the Fenian world, the only one who could break through the space to come to Tanxiahui was Xiao Fan. Sure enough, the next moment Xiao Fan walked out of the space wormhole. "Brother Xiao Fan, have you reached Shenlong Island so soon?" Seeing Xiao Fan coming back, Yan Lingjai was the first to greet him and asked. Xiao Fan nodded slightly. "Yes, Zamba and I have arrived at Shenlong Island. Zamba is still waiting there. I will come back to pick you up." Huangrong, Yan Lingjai, Su Xiaoxiao and Qian naturally had no objection to this. Immediately, the four girls stepped into the space wormhole with Xiao Fan and went to Shenlong Island. A moment later, the group arrived at the location of Shenlong Island. Xiao Fan's mind moved slightly, and the space wormhole closed directly, and the surrounding space returned to its original state again. Then, Xiao Fan said to several people, "Stand behind me, I will force the Shenlong out." Yes, the four girls heard the words, agreed at the same time, and then stood behind Xiao Fan. Zamba also showed a vigilant look and moved closer to Xiao Fan. "Law of heaven and earth." Xiao Fan shouted in his heart and suddenly used the magical power of the law of heaven and earth. The next moment, in the shocked eyes of Zhongba, Huangrong and others, Xiao Fan's body swelled wildly, and in an instant it soared to the height of a mountain, and it was still surging. Not long after, Xiao Fan's body seemed to have soared to the point of standing tall, which made the five people feel excited. Xiao Fan ignored the thoughts of the five people, raised his huge feet, and stomped down hard towards the sea where the dragon was. Boom! With a loud bang, the seawater was directly diverted by Xiao Fan's huge feet, forming a vacuum zone. On the seabed rock, there was a huge monster hundreds of feet long lying there. It was the dragon that Xiao Fan was targeting when he came to the world of wind and cloud this time. Roar! The dragon was originally sleeping and recuperating, but was awakened by the huge noise made by Xiao Fan. It let out an angry roar, and then a dragon swung its tail, and the huge dragon body suddenly flew from the bottom of the sea into the sky. "Is this the dragon? It looks quite powerful." Yan Lingjai couldn't help but whisper as she watched the dragon, which was hundreds of feet long, had a ferocious face, and exuded a powerful aura, flying out from the bottom of the sea. Huangrong, Qian, Su Xiaoxiao, and Zhongba all looked at the huge dragon with solemn expressions in their eyes. Chapter 155. The world is shocked, sees the dragon essence. The dragon was huge, hundreds of feet long. Any one of its claws could cover Zhongba and the others. Its huge eyes were filled with fierceness, as if it wanted to tear everything in front of it to pieces. The first thing the dragon noticed was Xiao Fan's huge body that almost stood tall. As for Zhongba and the others, they were like ants in the dragon's eyes and were ignored by it. Roar! The dragon roared, opened its huge mouth, and spewed out a terrifying dragon breath, which shot towards Xiao Fan with a momentum that burned everything, swallowing the sky and the earth. Xiao Fan shouted in his heart, and a black swallowing vortex suddenly appeared on his body, directly swallowing the dragon breath and turning it into its own pure energy. Seeing this, the dragon roared again and grabbed Xiao Fan with its fangs and claws. Xiao Fan opened the 5 fingers of his right hand, as if directly covering the sun in the sky. The terrifying giant hand grabbed the dragon's tail and swung it towards the sea. Boom! With a loud noise, a deafening sound came from the endless sea. The body of the dragon was caught in Xiao Fan's hand, breaking through the seawater and slamming onto the seabed. The submarine volcanoes within a radius of several miles suddenly erupted, and countless fish and shrimps on the seabed were buried in it. Below, Zhongba, Huangrong and others watched this scene with deep shock in their eyes. Under the terrifying vibration, the Shenlong Island where they were also trembling. Although Xiao Fan had shown the horror of the magical power of heaven and earth in the IP Man world before, and even destroyed a country with 1 foot, they were too far away at that time and could not see it clearly. Now, watching from a close distance, they have a new understanding of Xiao Fan's strength. Roar! The dragon roared in pain and anger, trying desperately to break free from Xiao Fan's control, but it couldn't do it at all. As for the dragon breath it spewed out in anger, It was all swallowed by Xiao Fan using the magical power of swallowing the sky and devouring the earth, and turned into part of Xiao Fan's body energy. Xiao Fan ignored the dragon's anger, grabbed the dragon's tail, and beat it in the surrounding sea area for more than 10 times, beating the dragon to death, and even stopped attacking. In an ordinary village near the sea in the East China Sea, the hidden strongman Xiaoxiao was fishing leisurely, but suddenly he sensed the movement of the sea and subconsciously wanted to check it out. Before Xiaoxiao approached, he saw the terrifying figure like a god in the sky above the Dragon Island, and a strong sense of crisis suddenly arose in his heart. After pondering for a while, for the sake of his own life, Xiaoxiao gave up the idea of rushing to check. The heart of the Central Plains, Zhanhua Pavilion, the martial arts legend Wu Ming was living in seclusion here and opened an ordinary restaurant. When he had nothing to do every day, he played the erhu to pass the time. On this day, Wu Ming was playing the erhu as usual, and suddenly he sensed the terrifying fluctuations coming from the East China Sea, and his eyes showed a deep shock. Even though he was thousands of miles away, Wu Ming could see the huge figure standing tall and felt a great threat from it. What happened? Wu Ming murmured, pondered for a moment, gave up playing the erhu, and left the Zhanhua Pavilion in a flash, flying towards the direction of the Shenlong Island in the East China Sea. Japan, Wuxinju Palace. Zhu Wuxian, the master of Wuxinju Palace, was practicing the killing fist he created. The terrifying murderous aura made the people of Wuxinju Palace around him tremble, and they dared not approach Zhu Wuxian within 100 meters. Zhu Wuxian felt the power of his killing fist and was very proud. Suddenly, Zhu Wuxian sensed that the whole of Japan seemed to tremble, and at the same time he saw the huge figure standing tall on the East China Sea. Faintly, there was also the painful and angry roar of the dragon. Zhu Wuxian's face changed, and he said in a deep voice, "The dragon is born." As one of the most powerful people in Japan, Zhu Wuxian naturally knew the existence of the dragon, and knew that the dragon was full of treasures. Sensing the breath, Zhu Wuxian immediately flew towards the location of the Dragon God Island. At this moment, in the sea near the Dragon God Island, Xiao Fan looked down at the dragon and said lightly, "Are you willing to submit to me?" Xiao Fan just spoke casually, but the sound shook the world, and the surrounding seas were shaken to produce a terrifying tsunami. Roar! The dragon let out a shrill roar, and the fierceness in his eyes did not decrease but increased, and he had no intention of surrendering. Seeing this, Xiao Fan shook his head slightly. "In this case, then you go to hell." After the voice fell, Xiao Fan made the hand holding the dragon huge again, and the dragon seemed like a loach in his hand. Bang! With a loud bang, the dragon was directly crushed by Xiao Fan's huge hand on the spot. The next moment, a crystal ball the size of a human head, with a burning breath, appeared in Xiao Fan's palm. In that ball, there seemed to be a dragon swimming, which looked quite mysterious. It was the most precious thing on the dragon essence. The dragon cloud fell onto Xiao Fan's palm and wanted to escape. Xiao Fan pondered for a moment and directly put it into the source tower. Then Xiao Fan's mind moved slightly, and soon he returned to his normal size and returned to Huang Rong and others. "Brother Xiao Fan, you are so amazing." Seeing Xiao Fan coming back, Yan Lingjai came forward and hugged Xiao Fan's arm, smiling. Huang Rong and others looked at Xiao Fan with admiration. Su Xiaoxiao asked, "Mr. Xiao, is the last ball of light the dragon essence?" Xiao Fan waved his hand and said, "Yes, that is the dragon essence. As the saying goes, whoever sees it gets a share." "Let's go back to Tangxiahui first. After we get there, I will refine the dragon essence and give you some." "Thank you, Mr. Xiao." "Thank you, Brother Xiao Fan." Upon hearing this, several people thanked Xiao Fan at the same time. Xiao Fan nodded slightly and immediately prepared to break through the space and use the space shuttle to return to Tangxiahui. Xiao Fan had just broken through the space wormhole when he suddenly sensed that there were several auras rushing towards them from the east. "Japan? I almost forgot, but there is no rush." With a silent thought in his heart, Xiao Fan took Zamba and several others together and used the space shuttle ability to return to Tangxiahui. After returning to Tangxiahui, Xiao Fan took out the automatic alchemy furnace, put the dragon essence into it, and soon refined 10 pills of concentrated essence, one for each of you 5. After refining, you should be able to improve your strength. After refining, Xiao Fan took out 5 of them and handed them to Huang Rong, the other 2 girls, and Zhongba. Thank you, Master Xiao. Thank you, Brother Xiao Fan. The few people took the pills and thanked Xiao Fan. Xiao Fan waved his hand and said, "It's just a small matter, you can practice here or go back to refine it." Hearing this, the 4 girls said that they were ready to stay in Tangxiahui to refine the pills made of dragon essence, and then return to their own worlds. Zhongba was the leader of Tangxiahui, and he would not go anywhere else. Under Xiao Fan's protection, the 5 people quickly refined the pills. Zhongba, Huang Rong, Yan Lingjai, and Qian all broke through to the realm of land immortals, which is comparable to the realm of the Huang, and they are at the peak. As for Xiaoxiao, she broke through from the realm comparable to the peak of the Huang to the realm comparable to Zong, which is the guardian level in the world of demon resurrection. After the breakthrough, several people thanked Xiao Fan again, and then returned to their respective worlds. Xiao Fan was not in a hurry to go back, and broke through the space again and arrived at Shenlong Island. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156, Seeking One's Own Death and Destroying Japan. When Xiao Fan arrived at Shenlong Island again, he saw many people on Shenlong Island, most of whom were people from the Water Tribe who originally lived on this island. The Water Tribe has believed in the dragon for many years and regarded themselves as the guardians of the dragon god. Now seeing that the dragon they believe in was killed, the people of the Water Tribe felt that the sky had fallen. Led by the 4 water gods of the Water Tribe, they rushed to Shenlong Island to check the situation and find the murderer who attacked the dragon. However, they were too slow. When they arrived, Xiao Fan had already returned to Tangxiahui with Zamba and others. In addition to the people of the Water Tribe, there were also some warriors from Japan. Shenlong Island was originally on the East China Sea, and the distance between Japan and Shenlong Island was much closer than that of the Central Plains. Among these warriors from Japan, there were Zhu Yuanzhang, Huang Ying, and Zhao Jingshan and Zhao Ashi who were hiding in the dark. The people of the Water Tribe were looking for the murderer who killed the dragon, while Zhu Yuanzhang, Huang Ying and others were thinking about finding the treasures left by the dragon. When Xiao Fan appeared here through the space wormhole, the people of the Water Tribe and Zhu Yuanzhang and others all subconsciously looked in the direction of the space wormhole. "It's you. It's this kind of breath. Did you kill the dragon?" Seeing Xiao Fan appear, the Water God King of the Water Tribe shouted at Xiao Fan, and his eyes were full of murderous intent when he looked at Xiao Fan. Zhu Yuanzhang and others also looked at Xiao Fan. They were afraid of Xiao Fan who could kill the dragon, but at the same time, they thought that the most precious dragon essence of the dragon must be on Xiao Fan. Therefore, they wanted to see Xiao Fan in the Water Tribe conflict. If both sides could lose, then they could benefit from it. Xiao Fan glanced at the Water God King and said lightly, "So what?" The Water God King said angrily, "You dare to kill Lord Shenlong? It is simply unforgivable." The other people of the Water Tribe were also furious, and the crowd was surging in an instant. Xiao Fan frowned slightly. "The dragon you believe in has been killed by me. Do you want to be buried with it?" Xiao Fan did not have much bad feelings towards the people of the Water Tribe, but he could not say that he liked them either. He could only say that they were strangers. Xiao Fan returned to Shenlong Island this time mainly because he was going to use it as a springboard to destroy Japan, no matter which world it is in. The small island country in the east has been eyeing the Central Plains and has always wanted to invade the heartland of the Central Plains. In the original work of Fen Yun, Zhu Yuanzhang of Japan brought people from Wuxinju Palace to the heartland of the Central Plains and almost replaced the Supreme of the Central Plains and occupied the heartland of the Central Plains. In the end, it was Nie Feng and Bu Jinian who joined forces to destroy Wuxinju Palace. Now, although Zhu Yuanzhang has not invaded the Central Plains, Xiao Fan has already had the idea of destroying Japan in his heart after sensing the breath of the Japanese warriors. Shenlong Island is close to Japan, So he shuttled through space again and returned here, but he did not plan to do anything to the water tribe. However, if the people of the water tribe attacked him without knowing what was good for them, Xiao Fan would not show mercy either. Everyone, come together and avenge Lord Shenlong. Hearing Xiao Fan's words, the Water God King was not afraid at all. He shouted loudly and took the initiative to attack Xiao Fan. At the same time, more than 10 water tribe masters around him all attacked Xiao Fan. Zhu Yuanzhang, Huang Ying, Dao Jingshan, Dao Shi and others just watched silently, wanting to use the people of the water tribe to test Xiao Fan's strength. You're courting death. Seeing this, Xiao Fan shook his head slightly, waved his right hand slightly, and suddenly an illusory palm appeared in the air. The illusory palm swelled in the wind, and in an instant it grew to hundreds of meters. On the giant palm, there were lightning arcs flashing continuously, releasing a dangerous aura. The huge giant hand fell from the sky, like the collapse of the sky, and suddenly pressed down on all the people of the water tribe, including the Water God King. Boom! A deafening sound rang out, and the dozen or so aquatic creatures were instantly slapped into the ground of Shenlong Island by the terrifying giant hand of thunder. Under the bombardment of the giant hand of thunder, a bottomless pit appeared directly on Shenlong Island, and seawater poured out of the pit. Hiss! Seeing this scene, Zhu Yuanzhang, Huang Ying and others all had their pupils contracted, and couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. Even the two brothers Dao Jingshan and Dao Shi changed their expressions at this time, and their eyes were full of fear when they looked at Xiao Fan. They never thought that Xiao Fan's strength would be so strong. He is worthy of being the one who can kill the dragon. At this time, these people who came from Japan had already retreated in their hearts and dared not compete with Xiao Fan for the Dragon Yuan. At this moment, Xiao Fan turned his head and looked at them. It's your turn. What? Hearing Xiao Fan's words, Zhu Yuanzhang and others were stunned, and their eyes flickered. It seems that this Central Plains warrior actually wanted to kill them all. Huang Ying frowned and said, "What do you mean? Are you going to attack all of us without knowing right or wrong?" Xiao Fan said calmly, "You can only blame yourself for being from Japan. Go ahead, don't say I didn't give you a chance." Zhu Yuanzhang said angrily, "Arrogant. I don't believe that we can still lose to you with so many people joining forces." Immortal Golden Body, Killing Fist. As soon as Zhu Yuanzhang came up, he directly displayed his two unique skills. While defending himself well, he sent the most powerful blow to Xiao Fan. Xuan Wujun held a long sword in his hand, and without saying a word, he directly used his sword skills to the extreme. The terrifying sword light almost covered all around Xiao Fan. Dao Shi, Dao Jingshan, Huang Ying and other masters all displayed their strongest attacks. For a time, the aftermath of various terrifying attacks directly hit the entire Shenlong Island with holes and ruins. Xiao Fan looked at the dazzling attacks around him and couldn't help but smile. It looks interesting, but unfortunately, your realm is still a little bit behind. When the voice fell, Xiao Fan casually drew a space crack around his body. The attacks of Zhu Yuanzhang and others were all sucked into the space crack. Xiao Fan himself was not hurt at all, and even the corners of his clothes were not wrinkled. Seeing that his strongest attack had no effect on Xiao Fan, everyone's face changed drastically. Escape. Almost everyone had this idea in their hearts at the same time. The next moment, many warriors from Japan fled in all directions. Space confinement. Xiao Fan saw this, his face did not change at all, and he calmly uttered 4 words. The next moment, the people who were running away felt that they all hit an invisible wall and were directly bounced back. Moreover, the surrounding walls were constantly shrinking towards the middle. In an instant, many Japanese warriors and Dao Jingshan's brothers were all trapped in a space of about 10 meters in radius. Thunderstorm. Xiao Fan shouted in his heart, and in the space of about 10 meters in radius, endless thunder suddenly appeared. Everyone was covered by thunder. A moment later, everyone was chopped into charcoal by the power of thunder. Xiao Fan glanced at it lightly, took a step, and left this place directly, flying towards the mainland of Japan. Xiao Fan's speed was so fast that in less than an hour, he had already flown over Japan. Xiao Fan was full of disgust for Japan, and he was too lazy to stay for more, and directly used the magical power of the law of heaven and earth. The strong men in the world of wind and cloud all sensed that a terrifying figure surrounded by thunder appeared in the sky above Japan. With a boom, the whole of Japan was crushed by the terrifying figure and sank into the sea. Japan was completely destroyed. After destroying Japan, Xiao Fan ignored the shock of everyone in the Thenian world, and directly recovered to his normal size, then returned to the Dqi world through the Wanji chat group. Chapter 157. All the girls are promoted. Huang Rong is excited. After returning to the Dqi world, Xiao Fan had nothing to do, so he went directly to find King Lin and Zhen. Because of Xiao Fan, King Lin and Zhen had the best relationship in Canaan College, and they often acted together. When Xiao Fan found the two, they happened to be together. Brother Xiao Fan, you are here, master. Seeing Xiao Fan coming, Zhen and King Lin both smiled happily. Xiao Fan smiled and said, I recently got a pill that can improve strength, and I brought one for each of you. While speaking, Xiao Fan directly took out 2 pills made of dragon essence from the ring. Thank you, brother Xiao Fan. Zhen happily took the pills and thanked Xiao Fan. King Lin hesitated and said, Master, the pills that improve strength are very precious, right? Why don't you keep them for yourself? Xiao Fan rubbed King Lin's head and smiled. This kind of pill has no effect on me anymore, so you can use it with peace of mind. Yes, thank you, master. King Lin took the pill and thanked him. Let's go. Go to the courtyard where I live and take the pill to improve. This pill should improve you a lot. Xiao Fan rubbed King Lin's head again and said to the two of them. Zhen and King Lin had no objection to this. After returning to their residence, King Lin and Zhen took the pills respectively, and Xiao Fan protected them on the side. A quarter of an hour later, Zhen refined the pill, and her cultivation level was raised from Duang level to the realm of 1-star Huang. As her strength increased, Zhen's appearance also looked a little older. Brother Xiao Fan, this pill is so effective. I've finally grown up a little bit. Ziyan excitedly stepped forward and kissed Xiao Fan on the cheek, her eyes full of excitement. Xiao Fan smiled and rubbed Ziyan's head. Yeah, it's good. Ziyan took Xiao Fan's arm and said coquettishly, Brother Xiao Fan, you still have this kind of pill, right? Give me a few more. As Ziyan moved, the part that had grown slightly due to the growth of her body rubbed against Xiao Fan's arm, making Xiao Fan a little embarrassed. Xiao Fan said, I'll give it to you when I have other good things in the future. This time there are only the last 3 left, and they have already been owned. Okay. Ziyan pouted when she heard it. After Ziyan's breakthrough, more than half an hour later, King Lin also finished refining the pill, and his cultivation level was raised to the level of a 5-star Wang. I feel much stronger, thank you, young master. Sensing the change in his own strength, King Lin happily thanked Xiao Fan. Xiao Fan smiled and said, why are you being polite to your young master? Let's go, I'll take you to Lei for a stroll. Yes, as long as they were with Xiao Fan, it didn't matter to King Lin where they went. She nodded without hesitation. Ziyan also agreed to this. Immediately, Xiao Fan took the 2 girls out of Canaan College and went to Lei. Not long after, the 3 of them arrived at Lei. In the center of Lei, the mansion that originally belonged to Han Feng was now being renovated. Xiao Fan didn't plan to live here permanently, so he was too lazy to keep the mansion and planned to transform it into an auction house. However, behind the auction house, a delicate courtyard was left for him alone. Yif, Zhao Yixian and Zhao Wu were all in the auction house that was being prepared. When they saw Xiao Fan coming, they all showed joy. Xiao Fan didn't waste any words and took out the last 3 pills made of dragon essence from the ring. This is for you. It's a pill to improve your strength. You can take it and practice. Thank you, Master Xiao Fan. Upon hearing this, Yev showed joy on her face. She took the pills and thanked Xiao Fan. Thank you, brother Zhao. Thank you, brother Xiao Fan. Then, Zhao Yixian and Zhao Wu also thanked Xiao Fan and took the pills. Ziyan looked at the 3 pills with a strong desire in her eyes, but she could only watch the pills enter the mouths of the 3 women. An hour later, the 3 women had all finished refining the pills. Yev's cultivation level was raised to 1-star Wang, and Zhao Wu was raised to 3-star Wang. As for Zhao Yixian, she was already in the Duang realm. After taking the pills, she soared directly to the 1-star Huang realm, which was equivalent to Ziyan's realm. After the 3 women finished their practice, they expressed their gratitude to Xiao Fan again. Afterwards, Xiao Fan accompanied the 5 girls to stroll around in Lei for a while, and then returned to Canaan Academy with Ziyan and King Lin. After returning to the academy, Xiao Fan asked Ziyan and King Lin to return to the student area, and he returned to his residence alone. Xiao Fan sensed that someone in the chat group had added him, so he sank his consciousness into the chat group. At this moment, the chat group of Wanji was chatting enthusiastically. Zhongba, young Master Xiao is really amazing. Not only did he crush the dragon with a simple move, but before leaving, he even crushed Japan with 1 foot. Worship, Xiaoxiao. So young Master Xiao stayed behind to destroy Japan. I can only say that he did a great job. Applause. Zhu Yuanzhang, young Master Xiao is invincible, and I admire him with all my heart. Yan Lingjai, brother Xiao Fan is naturally the most powerful, and he is also the most generous. This time, I was with brother Xiao Fan, and I was just going to see the dragon. Brother Xiao Fan gave me a pill, and I became a land immortal. Proud. Huangrong, you are not the only one who has reached the realm of land immortals. I have also broken through. Picking nose. Canaan, hee, there is me too. Thank you Lord Thunder Emperor for the gift. Thanks, Zagbo. With Lord Thunder Emperor's gift, I have also broken through to the realm of land immortals. Thank you Lord Thunder Emperor. Cup fists. Xiaoxiao, land immortals sound grand, but in reality, they are just that. I can deal with all of you by myself. Smug. Zhang Yuan, envy. If I had known, I would have gone to the Fenian world. Envy. Nangong push. Same envy. Yubuku. I wonder what realm Ms. Su is in now? Xiaoxiao. According to the realm classification of the martial arts world, I have already surpassed the land immortals. The realm of land immortals in the martial arts world seems to be the highest. However, if I were in Lord Thunder Emperor's world, or the world where young Master Wang is, my strength would still be far behind. Lord Thunder Emperor is the strongest one in the group. Lin Jiayu. I wonder how powerful young Master Xiao is now. Yan Lingjai. Only Xiao Fan knows this. At Xiao Fan, what is your current strength? Can you tell me? Xiao Fan just sensed the message sent by Yan Lingjai. Looking at the message in the group, Xiao Fan also replied casually. Xiao Fan, I am now in the realm of 9-star Zun. The environment of each world is different, and the heights that can be grown are also different. You don't have to worry too much about these. Everyone has the fate to join a chat group from all the heavens and worlds, and they are all friends. There is no need to have any bad emotions because of the difference in strength. Xiaoxiao, resolutely respond to the call of Lord Thunder Emperor. Resolutely respond to the call of Lord Thunder Emperor. Soon, the group was full of the same message. Xiao Fan, at all members, that's enough. Stop sending repeated messages to flood the screen. Xiao Fan, at Huangrong, didn't I say before that I could try to resurrect your mother? This time in the Fenian world, I got a skill called the Sacred Heart Sutra, which has this function. If it is convenient for you, I can go over and try to resurrect your mother. The world of the legend of the Condor Heroes. Peach Blossom Island. Huangrong was originally idle in the chat group, but when she saw the message sent by Xiao Fan, she was immediately excited. Chapter 158, Coming Back from the Dead and Promising Yourself to Me. Huangrong took a deep breath, calmed down, and quickly replied to Xiao Fan's message. Chat group interface. Huangrong, at Xiao Fan. Thank you brother Xiao Fan. There is nothing inconvenient here, you can come anytime. Xiao Fan, well, then I will go directly there later. However, your mother has passed away for many years after all, and I am not absolutely sure. You have to be mentally prepared first. With Xiao Fan's current realm, it is naturally easy for him to master the Sacred Heart Sutra, not to mention that he has a heaven-defined understanding. He has already understood the Sacred Heart Sutra in just a short moment. Now Fan, when he uses the Sacred Heart Sutra, the power will be even stronger than that of Emperor Shitian. However, Huangrong's mother has been dead for more than 10 years, and Xiao Fan dare not guarantee whether she can be resurrected successfully. Huangrong, at Xiao Fan, brother Xiao Fan, don't worry, I understand. Then I will invite you now, but you have been to the world where Hongba is today, can you still come to our world? Xiao Fan, at Huangrong, as the group leader, I have no limit on the number of times I can visit other members' worlds every day, so it's okay. Huang Rong, okay, brother Xiao Fan, I invite you. After Huang Rong sent the message, she directly invited Xiao Fan through the chat group. Xiao Fan did not hesitate and immediately chose to agree. Soon, he traveled to the world of the Legend of the Condor Heroes through the chat group. Brother Xiao Fan, seeing Xiao Fan coming, Huang Rong went forward directly, speaking crisply, with expectations in her eyes. Xiao Fan smiled and said, "Don't worry, the success rate should still be very high, and if it fails, it will not cause any damage to your mother's body." Huang Rong nodded and said, "Yes, I'll leave everything to brother Xiao Fan." Xiao Fan said, "Let's go, call your father, and we'll go to the tomb where your mother is." If it weren't for brother Xiao Fan's reminder, I would have almost forgotten. Huang Rong heard Xiao Fan's words, looking like she had just reacted. Xiao Fan smiled and said nothing. Soon, the two found Huang Yaoshi and explained to him the matter of resurrecting Feng Heng. Huang Rong had just joined the chat group and learned from the group that there was a chance to resurrect her mother, so she mentioned it to Huang Yaoshi. When Huang Yaoshi learned that Xiao Fan was going to take action to resurrect his wife Feng Heng, he was immediately excited. "Master Xiao, can you really resurrect Ah Heng?" Xiao Fan said, "I should be quite confident, but I can't say it's 100%. If Island Master Huang is unwilling to try, I won't force you." Upon hearing this, Huang Yaoshi hurriedly said, "That's not what I meant, it's just..." Before Huang Yaoshi could continue, Huang Rong interrupted him. "Dad, don't worry, brother Xiao Fan said that there is a great chance of success, and in case it fails, it will not cause any harm to mother." When Huang Yaoshi heard Huang Rong's words, he immediately put aside his worries, bowed to Xiao Fan, and said solemnly, "Master Xiao, please." Xiao Fan reached out and helped Huang Yaoshi up, smiled and said, "Don't worry Island Master Huang, I will definitely do my best. Let's go, we'll go there now." Huang Yaoshi nodded, then led the way for Xiao Fan. The three of them walked through the peach forest. When they turned a corner, a patch of white flowers suddenly appeared in front of them. There was something bulging high among the white flowers. It was the tomb of Huang Rong's mother Feng Heng. The tombstone in front of the tomb was engraved with 11 characters. The tomb of Feng, the female master of Peach Blossom Island. Huang Yaoshi walked forward, pushed the tombstone to the left 3 times, pushed it to the right 3 times, and then pushed it forward with force. The tombstone slowly moved away, revealing a stone tunnel. "Mr. Xiao, please follow me," Huang Yaoshi said to Xiao Fan, and then stepped into the tunnel, turned 3 corners, opened the mechanism, opened a stone door, and entered the tomb chamber. After entering the tomb chamber, Huang Yaoshi used a fire stick to light the glass lamp in the tomb, and the tomb chamber suddenly became bright. Xiao Fan took a casual look and saw that the walls of the tomb were filled with antiques, famous paintings and calligraphy, pearls, jade, jadeite and agate, all of which were priceless. In the middle of the tomb was a jade coffin. The lid on the coffin was transparent. Through the lid, one could see that in the coffin lay a beautiful woman who looked 80% similar to Huang Rong. Huang Yaoshi looked at the woman in the coffin affectionately and said to Xiao Fan, "Master Xiao, this is my wife. If you can bring my wife back to life, I, Huang Yaoshi, will do whatever you ask for from now on." Xiao Fan said calmly, "Don't worry, since I promised Ronger, I will do my best. Open the coffin first." Huang Yaoshi nodded and carefully opened the transparent lid of the jade coffin. Xiao Fan walked to the jade coffin and put a hand on Feng Heng's shoulder. It was cold to the touch, without a trace of warmth. After Xiao Fan took the Guan pill, he could practice and use any attribute skills. The Sacred Heart skill was no exception. Xiao Fan directly followed the operation route of the Sacred Heart skill and mobilized a unique energy, which was input from Feng Heng's shoulder into her body and slowly traveled through her body. Huang Yaoshi and Huang Rong, father and daughter, watched quietly on the side, not daring to make any noise, for fear of affecting Xiao Fan. Xiao Fan was also very careful to activate the Sacred Heart skill at this time, so as not to output too much power and destroy Feng Heng's body structure. An hour later, Xiao Fan finally felt a weak life fluctuation from Feng Heng. After this discovery, Xiao Fan felt more confident in his heart, and kept carefully operating the sacred heart skill to activate the unique true qi. Another hour passed, and Feng Heng's body gradually began to warm up, and the blood gradually began to flow. Feng Heng's breathing and heartbeats also went from nothing to something, from weak to strong. Another half an hour later, all of Feng Heng's vital signs returned to normal levels, and his eyelashes began to flutter slowly. Huang Yaoshi and Huang Rong were extremely excited when they saw this scene, but they tried their best to restrain themselves, fearing that their tiny movements would cause Feng Heng's resurrection to fail. Finally, in the tense expectation of Huang Yaoshi and Huang Rong, Feng Heng slowly opened his eyes full of confusion. Seeing this, Xiao Fan also withdrew his hand, stepped aside, and nodded to Huang Yaoshi and Huang Rong. "Ah Heng, you finally woke up." Seeing this, Huang Yaoshi immediately stepped forward and held Feng Heng's hand, his face full of excitement. Feng Heng's eyes slowly moved, and hesitantly said, You are a pharmacist? How did you become so old?" Then, after Huang Yaoshi and Huang Rong's detailed narration, Feng Heng finally understood what was going on, and the family of three were extremely grateful to Xiao Fan. Xiao Fan briefly talked with them and then said goodbye, leaving the three of them space and time. After returning to the Qi world, Xiao Fan occasionally went to the Tanfan refining Qi tower to practice and compress his Qi, and sometimes went to Leiying to see the preparations for the auction house. He still lived a very leisurely life. Of course, surfing the group every day is also a part of his life. 7 days after Xiao Fan resurrected Feng Heng, Huang Rong came to the group again and contacted Xiao Fan, expressing her desire to go to the Qi world. Xiao Fan didn't think much about it and directly invited Huang Rong. "Brother Xiao Fan, thank you." Seeing Xiao Fan again, Huang Rong was much more proactive than before, hugged Xiao Fan directly, and expressed gratitude. Xiao Fan smiled and said, "You have thanked me many times. I told you not to be so polite. For me, it's just a piece of cake." Huang Rong said softly, "It may be just a piece of cake for you, Brother Xiao Fan, but it's a huge favor to me." Wronger doesn't know how to repay Brother Xiao Fan. "I can only show you my humble appearance. I hope Brother Xiao Fan won't despise me." After saying that, Huang Rong kissed Xiao Fan awkwardly. Chapter 159, The Lingering Ghost, The Hidden Danger. Xiao Fan straightened Huang Rong's body and said solemnly, "If you just want to repay a favor, you don't have to do this. You can't regret this kind of thing." Huang Rong blushed and said, "In fact, I have liked Brother Xiao Fan for a long time, but I am embarrassed. This incident just gave me some courage. I hope Brother Xiao Fan will not reject me, otherwise I will be very sad." Huang Rong stopped talking and just looked at Xiao Fan steadily, with expectation in her eyes. Seeing Huang Rong's appearance, Xiao Fan was no longer reserved. He hugged Huang Rong in his arms and said softly, "How could I reject such an outstanding woman like Wronger? In fact, I have always liked you." After speaking, Xiao Fan lowered his head slightly and covered Huang Rong's lips. The temperature in the room gradually began to rise. Gradually, the fire burned, burning the two people sweating profusely. It was unknown how long it took before the fire slowly extinguished and the temperature in the room gradually returned to normal. Huang Rong lay on Xiao Fan's shoulder, with a satisfied look on her face. "Brother Xiao Fan, I like you so much. You are so beautiful." Xiao Fan kissed Huang Rong on the forehead and said softly, "I like Wronger too." After the two of them were affectionate for a while, they dressed neatly, and then Xiao Fan took Huang Rong out of Canaan College and strolled casually on the streets of Blackhorn region. The Blackhorn region, which was chaotic and terrifying in the eyes of others, was no different from a back garden for Xiao Fan. The two of them strolled around for most of the day, and when the time was almost up, Huang Rong reluctantly said goodbye to Xiao Fan, and then returned to the world of the Legend of the Condor Heroes through the chat group. After watching Huang Rong leave, Xiao Fan pondered for a moment and headed towards Thunder City. Speaking of which, He hadn't been to Thunder City for a few days. Xiao Fan had just arrived in Thunder City and suddenly sensed that there was a cloud of black fog hidden in the dark of the auction house that was being prepared. It was quite similar to the aura of the Wu Guardian and Zhuan Guardian he had met before. The guy from the Soul Palace is really haunting, Xiao Fan thought to himself, and at the same time, he flashed in front of the black fog and casually slapped it with his palm, directly dispersing the black fog. When the black fog dissipated, a man with an ugly appearance, scarlet eyes, and wearing a black robe came into Xiao Fan's sight. Judging from the man's attire, there is no doubt that he is another guardian of the Soul Palace. After Xiao Fan dispersed the black fog with a palm, the Soul Palace guardian naturally sensed Xiao Fan's presence, and a solemn look suddenly appeared on his face. He said grimly, "Did you kill Hanfeng and Zhuan Guardian?" Xiao Fan smiled faintly, "I guessed it right, but unfortunately there is no prize." Hearing Xiao Fan's words, the Soul Palace guardian's face changed, and a black fog appeared around his body again in an instant. The black fog actually took him away quickly. Obviously, he was not sure to deal with Xiao Fan. Xiao Fan was slightly stunned when he saw this. This was the third Soul Palace guardian he had met. The previous two were arrogant. It was the first time he had met someone who ran away as soon as he saw him. Thinking in his heart, Xiao Fan moved slightly, and soon caught up with the floating black fog. Space confinement. Xiao Fan shouted in his heart, and instantly confined the space around the Soul Palace guardian. The Soul Palace guardian manipulated the black fog to constantly change direction, but he could not escape from the small space, so he had to give up the plan of escaping. "Boy, who are you? How dare you go against our Soul Palace?" After being forced to stop, the Soul Palace guardian said to Xiao Fan in a somewhat cowardly manner. Xiao Fan said lightly, "You don't seem to understand the situation. Let's talk about yourself first. What's your name, and why did you come to Lei?" When the Soul Palace guardian heard Xiao Fan's question, he didn't want to answer, but for some reason, his mouth was uncontrollable, and he said the answer. "I am one of the Soul Palace guardians. I have long lost my name. I am called the Iron Guardian. I was originally stationed in the 10,000 Scorpion Gate of the Izumo Empire. I came to Lei because..." As the Iron Guardian told the story, Xiao Fan quickly understood the whole story. It turns out that this Iron Guardian was originally sent by the Soul Palace to the Huangxi Gate of the Xiaoyan Empire. He used the Huangxi Gate to do things for the Soul Palace. Not long ago, the Iron Guardian occasionally went out for a trip, and when he returned again, he found that the Huangxi Gate had been destroyed. Later, the Iron Guardian learned the appearance of Xiaoxiao and Zhao Wu from the Huangxi Gate disciples who had escaped. The Iron Guardian wanted to find Xiaoxiao and Zhao Wu, find out the situation, and kill them if possible. Of course, the Iron Guardian was not for revenge for the Huangxi Gate, but was angry that Xiaoxiao and Zhao Wu had destroyed the Huangxi Gate and indirectly destroyed his plan. The Iron Guardian used some people from the Xiaoyan Empire to investigate, and soon found out that Xiaoxiao and Zhao Wu had appeared in the Black Horn region. So, the Iron Guardian came to the Black Horn region, wanting to kill Xiaoxiao and Zhao Wu to vent his anger. When the Iron Guardian arrived in the Black Horn region, he soon learned about the change of ownership of the original Maple City. Tai Hufa had dealt with Zhuan Hufa before, and knew that Zhuan Hufa was cooperating with Han Feng. Through the secret method of the Soul Clan, he sensed that Zhuan Hufa and Han Feng were dead. But now, Xiaoxiao and Zhao Wu appeared in the original Feng Cheng. This made Tai Hufa connect the death of Zhuan Hufa and Han Feng with Xiaoxiao and the others. First it was the Huangxi sect, and now it is Feng Cheng. Tai Hufa suspected that they were specifically destroying the plan of the Soul Palace. Tai Hufa was lurking here, preparing to wait until Xiaoxiao and Zhao Wu were alone, and then capture them for interrogation. After all, there is a Zong-level aura inside, and Tai Hufa did not want to confront them head-on to avoid complications. After listening to Tai Hufa's story, Xiao Fan couldn't help but frowned. "Have you reported the situation here to the people in the Soul Palace?" If it was just Tai Hufa alone, Xiao Fan would solve it easily. If there were other Soul Palace masters coming, Xiao Fan would have to be prepared in advance. The Iron Guardian said, "I saw that there were Zong masters guarding here, so I felt that things were not simple. so I reported it and asked for support. Xiao Fan's eyes turned cold. You are really cautious. Space annihilation. Xiao Fan shouted in his heart, and directly destroyed the space that trapped the Iron Guardian. In an instant, the Iron Guardian turned into ashes along with the annihilated space. Not long after, the space returned to its original state, and there was no difference at all. After Xiao Fan dealt with the Iron Guardian, he flashed and quickly arrived at the auction house that was being prepared, and then called Yuf, Xiaoxiao and Zhao Wu, as well as the transformed Zi of the magic beast, all together. Master Xiao Fan, what happened? Seeing Xiao Fan's serious face, Yuf stepped forward and gently patted Xiao Fan's shoulders and asked. Xiaoxiao, Zhao Wu and Zi also looked at Xiao Fan with some curiosity. Chapter 160 The Heart to Become Stronger. King Lin encounters the enemy. Seeing that several people were a little worried, Xiao Fan relaxed and smiled. Don't worry, there are just enemies hiding in the dark to spy on the auction house. I will stay in the auction house for a while, and return to the academy after completely dealing with the invading enemies. Zi bowed and said, Sir, I am incompetent and failed to find the enemy. Xiao Fan waved his hand and said casually, Don't think too much. The enemy this time is a bit secretive, and his strength is above yours. It is normal that you can't find it. In short, everyone should work hard and improve your strength as soon as possible. Everyone nodded at the same time, and secretly warned themselves in their hearts that they must work harder to practice and improve their own strength, and not always drag Xiao Fan down, especially Xiaoxiao. Her desire to become stronger is even stronger. After separating from Xiao Fan, she immediately frantically refined poison to improve herself. Zhao Wu also practiced more diligently. Yif knew that she didn't have enough talent for cultivation and could only rely on external things, so she put all her heart into the auction house. She believed that after the auction house got on track, she would be able to earn enough natural treasures or elixirs to improve herself and help Xiao Fan at the same time. Xiao Fan also practiced hard for a few days. However, the progress of cultivation was not ideal. Today, Xiao Fan has already reached the level of a 9-star Zun. The next step is to enter the Peak of Zun. The Peak of Zun is divided into 9 turns. The Qi required for each turn is equivalent to the sum of the Qi required by a Zun from 1 to 9 stars. Therefore, if you want to rely on normal cultivation to break through to the 9-turn Zun, the time required is probably inestimable. In the original work, Xiao Yan also shortened this time to 1 month with the help of the body ancient tree after hundreds of reincarnations. For others, either someone with blood relationship directly breaks through the and ascends to heaven in 1 step, or there is almost no shortcut. At this moment, Xiao Fan couldn't help but think of the body ancient tree in his mind. However, the location of the ancient body tree is very difficult to find, and there are also considerable troubles involved. So it is necessary to make a long-term plan. On this day, Xiao Fan was practicing in a small courtyard behind the auction house behind Lei, and suddenly sensed the fluctuations of fighting in the city. What surprised Xiao Fan was that one of the parties in the fight was Zi Yan. You continue to stay in the auction house, I will go and see what's going on myself. Xiao Fan sensed that Zi was about to leave, so he gave instructions and flashed towards the streets of Lei. At this moment on the streets of Lei, many pedestrians were watching the fight on the street, and they all looked like they were watching a good show. Where do you think these 2 women came from? They dared to cause trouble in Lei. They must be tired of living. Hee. They are probably from outside. They think they can walk sideways in the Black Horn region with their Huang cultivation. If the bodies of the 2 elders Jin and Yin were not removed, they probably wouldn't dare to be so presumptuous. Right? The bodies of the 2 elders Jin and Yin have long been rotten and smelly, and you don't want to look at those horrible bodies every day when you go in and out of Lei, right? Wait, just in time to see who the master behind Lei is. When Xiao Fan arrived at the scene, he happened to see Zi Yan fighting with a woman in green clothes with an angry face. The woman looked very charming, and when she launched the attack, she was like a poisonous snake. On the other side of Zi Yan and her battlefield, there was a Duang-level woman in green clothes who stopped by King Lin, stopping King Lin and persuading him, Brother Xiao Fan, you are here, come and help me beat this stinky woman. When Zi Yan saw Xiao Fan coming, She immediately showed joy on her face and shouted at Xiao Fan. Xiao Fan smiled and said, "You should do it yourself. I believe you can defeat her." After that, Xiao Fan's mind moved slightly, and he used the method he deduced based on the 4 tribulations of the Holy Heart on the woman in green. When the woman in green heard what Xiao Fan said, she wanted to say something, but suddenly she felt a pain in her heart, and her expression was sluggish for a moment. When Ziyan heard that Xiao Fan did not help her, she was about to complain, but suddenly she found that the woman in green was abnormal, and immediately seized the opportunity and punched the woman in green in the chest. Bang! A dull collision sounded, and the woman in green was directly knocked away by Ziyan's punch, and fell heavily to the ground. Puff! After landing, the woman in green spit out a mouthful of blood, and her face turned pale instantly. "Elder Lu Man, are you okay?" Seeing this, the green-clothed woman on the side changed her face. She didn't care about intercepting King Lin, and flew to the green-clothed woman and helped her up from the ground. It turned out that these 2 people were the 2 elders from the Heavenly Snake Mansion, Lu Man and Elder King. Elder King was originally sent by the Heavenly Snake Mansion to operate near the Black Horn region. Not long ago, she discovered King Lin with the green snake 3 flower pupils, but found that Ziyan, who was at the Duang level, was with her, and she was not sure of defeating Ziyan, so she went back to find help. After Lu Man got the news, he also rushed to the Black Horn region. The 2 of them waited for a while, and finally saw Ziyan and King Lin appear again today. Lu Man confirmed that King Lin did have the green snake 3 flower pupils, and immediately took the initiative to attack, wanting to take King Lin away by force, but was stopped by Ziyan on the side. They never thought that Ziyan would break through to the Duang level in such a short time, and although her star level was lower, her combat power was very strong. So, there was the current scene. Seeing that she had severely injured Lu Man with 1 punch, Ziyan was very proud. "See if you dare to snatch King Lin, I will beat you to death." After that, Ziyan stepped forward again and attacked Lu Man with a very monotonous punch. Seeing this, Elder King wanted to block for Lu Man, but suddenly found that he could not move. Bang! Ziyan punched Lu Man's chest again, directly hitting her internal organs, and she died soon. Xiao Fan saw that Ziyan wanted to continue to beat Elder King to death, and hurriedly said, "Don't worry, take her back and ask what happened." "Okay." Ziyan heard what Xiao Fan said, and immediately retracted her fist and stood aside. Xiao Fan walked forward, picked up Lu Man and Elder King in one hand, and returned to the auction house. The people around looked at this scene, and they were suddenly shocked and confused. What happened just now? The girl was obviously at a disadvantage. How come the situation suddenly reversed? I think it must be the work of the young man who came later. Not necessarily, maybe the girl was deliberately hiding her strength. But speaking of it, why didn't the people from Leiying show up? Do you think that young man is from Leiying? While everyone was talking, Xiao Fan and his friends quickly returned to the backyard of the auction house. After the interrogation, Xiao Fan quickly understood the whole story. King Lin lowered her head and pinched the corner of her clothes, whispering, "I'm sorry, master, I've caused you trouble again." King Lin couldn't help but think of the time when she was captured by the Mo family and then Xiao Fan went to rescue her. Xiao Fan rubbed King Lin's head and chuckled, "What kind of trouble is this? And it's not your fault. It's those people who are too hateful." Ziyan said, "That's right, you stay by my side in the future. If anyone dares to trouble you, I will punch him to death." Xiao Fan smiled and said, "Ziyan did a good job this time." Ziyan smiled and said, "Hey, since I did a good job, will Brother Xiao Fan give me a reward?" Xiao Fan stretched out his hand and rubbed Ziyan's head. After thinking for a while, he took out an Huang Jai pill and gave it to her. "This is Huang Jai pill. After Huang takes it, it can improve 1 to 2 stars of cultivation. See how many stars you can break through." "Wow, Brother Xiao Fan, you are so nice." Ziyan happily took the Huang Jai pill, and in excitement, she kissed Xiao Fan on the cheek again. Xiao Fan smiled, "Okay, just take it and refine it." "Yeah." Ziyan heard what Xiao Fan said. Without any hesitation, she swallowed the Huang Jai pill in one gulp and began to refine it. Xiao Fan was talking to King Lin on the side, while protecting Ziyan. Suddenly, The reminder of a new member joining the Wanji chat group rang in Xiao Fan's mind again. Chapter 161. A new member joins the group, and there is another non-human. Ding. Zhang San joins the chat group. Ding. Mike Zuyan joins the chat group. Xiao Fan is used to the addition of new members, but he was still a little surprised when he saw Mike Zuyan join the group. Xiao Fan remembered that he had seen a work of the evil lord in his previous life, and Mike Zuyan was one of the heroines in it, and could also be called the first heroine. Mike Zuyan, like Tushan Hongong, is not a human. The difference is that Tushan Hongong is a fox, while Mike Zuyan is a unique mysterious beast. The snow guide Martin, although she is a mysterious beast, Mike Zuyan is kinder than many humans in the world of the evil lord. Even the leaders of the three holy places, who are enemies, recognize Mike Zuyan's kindness, but they shamelessly use Mike Zuyan's kindness to deal with Mike Zuyan and the Tanfa forest. As for the joining of the famous Zhang San, Xiao Fan was not surprised at all, thinking in his heart. Xiao Fan welcomed the two newcomers in the group as usual. Xiao Fan, at Zhang San, at Mike Zuyan, welcome newcomers to the group. Xiaoxiao, at Zhang San, at Mike Zuyan, Master Zhang, Master Mai, welcome to the group. Welcome, Yubuku, at Zhang San. I didn't expect Master Zhang to join the group. I'm Yubuku from Huashan sect, and I'm honored to meet Master Zhang. Bo, IP Man, at Zhang San. I'm IP Man from Wingchun, and I'm honored to meet Master Zhang from Yudang sect. Bo, Lin Jiayu, at Zhang San. Lin Jiayu from Ma'ashan, and I'm honored to meet Master Zhang from Yudang sect. Bo, Yan Lingjai. What's going on? Do you all know the newcomers? Wan. Yes, it looks like this Zhang Sanfeng is very powerful. Huang Rong, I'm curious about Zhang Sanfeng's identity. Zhang Yuan, I'm going to at Xiaoxiao here, the world of the Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber. Yudang sect, Zhang Sanfeng is about to celebrate his 100th birthday. He is not in seclusion, he is concentrating his mind in the back mountain of Yudang. Suddenly, he hears a series of strange voices in his mind, and then sees a lot of messages from strangers. This makes Zhang Sanfeng feel a little surprised. The Wanji chat group, Zhang Sanfeng is about to turn 100, but he has never heard of such a thing, and he doesn't know what it means. What surprised Zhang Sanfeng even more was that there were people from Huashan sect and Ma'ashan sect, especially in Huashan sect. Zhang Sanfeng didn't remember that there was a person named Yubuku. Could he be a new disciple? In addition, there was Huang Rong in the group. Didn't Huang Rong die with Godexia in Xiangyang City? Zhang Sanfeng didn't quite understand the new thing of the Wanji chat group. Chat group interface. After Zhang Yuan at Xiaoxiao, Xiaoxiao also responded immediately. Xiaoxiao, ahem. Actually, I'm not sure which Zhang Sanfeng is. After all, there are many parallel worlds with Zhang Sanfeng, and only the group owner can see which world the group members are from. Xiao Fan, Zhang Sanfeng comes from the world of the Heaven Sword and the Dragon Saber. He is the founder of the Yudang sect and created Tai Chi, Tai Kai sword and other widely spread martial arts. Xiao Fan, at Xiaoxiao, please explain the functions of the 10,000 Worlds chat group to the two newcomers first, so that the newcomers will not be confused about the situation and have difficulty communicating with other members. Xiaoxiao, yes, Lord Thunder Emperor. Bao Fist, Xiaoxiao, at Zhang Sanfeng, at Mike Zuyan. I will tell you about the functions of the 10,000 Worlds chat group by order of Lord Thunder Emperor. The 10,000 Worlds chat group, as the name suggests, allows people from all the heavens and all the worlds to communicate. Soon, Xiaoxiao once again explained the functions of the 10,000 Worlds chat group to Zhang Sanfeng and Mike Zuyan. Although Xiao Fan is the group leader, Xiaoxiao always comes forward for such trivial matters. The world of the Heaven Sword and the Dragon Saber. The back mountain of Yudang sect. After reading Xiaoxiao's introduction, Zhang Sanfeng soon understood what the 10,000 Worlds chat group was and some of the basic functions of the chat group. After a brief pause, Zhang Sanfeng sent a message tentatively. Zhang Sanfeng, I am Zhang Sanfeng, the Portalist priest. I am glad to meet all of you. Thank you Miss Su for your explanation and for your welcome. Xiaoxiao, you are welcome, Master Zhang. Yan Lingjai, I wonder what interesting things have happened to Zhongsan, Xiaoxiao. Speaking of which, this Zhongsan is also a little bit involved with Huangrong and Zhalongnu. Huangrong, please make it clear, it is Huangrong from the world where Zhongsan is. It has nothing to do with me. Rolling eyes, Zhalongnu. Miss Huang is right, it has nothing to do with me. Canaan, Miss Su, please tell me in detail. Expectation, Xiaoxiao. Zhongsan's original name was Zhongjunbao. If it is set in the world of the Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber, when Zhongjunbao was young, he once liked Huangrong and Gojing's youngest daughter Goxiang. Unfortunately, Goxiang has always liked Zhalongnu's husband Yango. Smirk, Zhongsan, when I was young, I did admire Miss Goxiang, but that is all in the past. Now I am devoted to Taoism and have no other thoughts. Zhalongv, at Xiaoxiao, stop talking nonsense. I will not marry Yango. Huangrong, at Xiaoxiao, that's right, I will never marry Gojing. Knock, Xiao Fan, at Xiaoxiao, don't go off topic. That is all about the parallel world. It has nothing to do with Huangrong and Zhalongv in the group. I know a lot about Zhongsan's deeds. Let me tell you, as Xiao Fan narrated, everyone quickly understood Zhongsan's deeds from childhood to the establishment of Wudang sect and the acceptance of the 7 heroes of Wudang. Of course, Yubukan and Ip Man also knew a rough idea of these deeds, but not as detailed as Xiao Fan. Xiao Fan introduced most of them to everyone, and suddenly thought that he didn't know what stage the plot of the Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber had reached. Xiao Fan, at Zhongsan, how old is Master Zhong now? Zhongsan, the old Taoist has lived to be 100 years old. Xiaoxiao, at Zhongsan, have you celebrated your 100th birthday? Zhongsan, not yet. The day is in 3 days. If you have time, you can come to Wudang Mountain to visit. Xiaoxiao, on your 100th birthday, something will happen that is very regrettable for you in Wudang sect. You'd better take precautions in advance to avoid regrets for the rest of your life. The world of the Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber. The back mountain of Wudang sect. Zhongsan saw the message sent by Xiaoxiao. His expression changed slightly, and his gray eyebrows could not help but wrinkle. 3 days later, at the birthday banquet, would there be any accidents? Zhongsan, at Xiaoxiao, does Ms. Su have the ability to predict the future? Do you know what will happen to Wudang sect in 3 days? The world of the evil lord of another world. Deep in the Tanfa forest, in a quiet corner where few animals are seen, a figure covered in a black robe, like Zhongsan, heard all the news in his mind. At the same time, he saw Xiaoxiao's introduction to the function of the chat group, as well as the conversation between Xiao Fan and Zhongsan. The black-robed man's eyes flashed with hesitation, and he became somewhat curious about this Wanji chat group. There was no doubt that the person covered in black robes was Miguzuyan, the king of countless mysterious beasts in the Tanfa forest. When Miguzuyan saw the last paragraph of the conversation between Zhongsan and Xiaoxiao, her pupils shrank slightly. She was a little curious. Could this human woman named Xiaoxiao really predict the future? Chapter 162 Zhongsan's Gratitude and Tushan Hongong's Expectation. Chat interface of the 10,000 Worlds chat group. Yan Lingjai, at Xiaoxiao, the all-knowing and almighty Su Daxian, please start your performance. Smirk, Huangrong, sit and watch Su Daxian's performance. Linking Zhu, all-knowing and almighty Daxian, what do you mean? Xiaoxiao, at Yan Lingjai, at Huangrong, can you two stop exposing my shortcomings every time? Rolling eyes, Xiaoxiao, at Linking Zhu, at Zhongsan, don't listen to their nonsense. I know the affairs of your other members because I am a time traveler. I am not a great immortal. Linking Zhu, well, you did talk about time travelers last time. Zhongsan, what is a time traveler? Xiaoxiao, a time traveler is, before I traveled through time, I read the life scripts of most of your members, so I know your affairs. Lord Thunder Emperor, that is, the group leader young Master Zhao, is in the same situation as me. Zhongsan, I understand. Miss Su, please tell me what will happen to the Wudang sect in 3 days. Xiaoxiao, Your fifth disciple Zhang Qiushan went out to investigate the injury of Yu Dang. Later, at the Wangpanshan sword-raising conference held by the Sky Eagle sect, he was forcibly taken to an overseas deserted island by Zigzhan. In addition to Zhang Qiushan, Yin Susu, the daughter of the white-browed eagle king of the Sky Eagle sect, was also taken away by Zigzhan. Zhang San. It turns out that Qiushan was forcibly taken to an overseas deserted island by Zigzhan. No wonder there has been no news of him in the past 10 years. Is the incident 3 days later related to Qiushan? Xiaoxiao? Yes. Zhang Qiushan and Yin Susu shared life and death on the overseas deserted island, developed a love affair, married each other and gave birth to a son named Zhang Wuji. The most important thing is that Zhang Qiushan and Zigzhan became brothers of different surnames, after he returned to the Central Plains this time. Xiaoxiao told all the stories in the Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber, including the relationship between Zhang Qiushan and Zigzhan, the whereabouts of the Dragon Saber, and the news that the 5 major sects went to Yudang to force the emperor to abdicate. After reading the message sent by Xiaoxiao, Zhang San has not responded yet. But the others in the group are already filled with righteous indignation. Huangrong, these guys from so-called famous and upright sects are too shameless, aren't they? They clearly want the dragon-slaying sword, and they shout it in a high-sounding manner. If they want the dragon-slaying sword, why don't they go find Zigzhan themselves? Why do they have to ask Zhang Qiushan about Zigzhan's whereabouts? Yan Lingjai. That's right, although Zhang Qiushan knows the whereabouts of Zigzhan, it is his freedom to tell others whether he tells it or not. When those so-called famous and upright people have always acted like this, I am not surprised at all. Zangbo, I feel the same way. Yubuku, that's wrong. The Huashan sect led by you will definitely not be like this. Linjiayu, my Ma'ashan sect is also an orthodox Taoist sect. Although there are inevitably a few people who corrupt the sect's style, the sect's style is still very upright. Zhang San, the words good and evil are originally difficult to distinguish. If the disciples of the upright sects have bad intentions, they are evil disciples. If the people of the evil sects are dedicated to doing good, they are upright gentlemen. It cannot be said that all the upright people in the martial arts world are bad. It can only be said that some of them have problems with their minds. In any case, I have to thank Miss Su for telling me this important news. In 3 days, I will definitely keep an eye on Qiushan to prevent him from making mistakes. Xiao Fan. In fact, Zhang Qiushan committed suicide because he was forced by the upright sects to ask about the whereabouts of Zigzhan. His beloved wife Yin Susu injured Yu Dang and eventually caused Yu Dang to be paralyzed. This was also an important reason. Zhang Qiushan could not choose between his brother and his wife, so he could only commit suicide to apologize. Zhang San, what was the incident with Dang all done by Yin Susu of the Sky Eagle sect? The world of the Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber. The back mountain of Yu Dang sect. When Zhang San learned about this, his face changed drastically. If Yu Dang was really harmed by Yin Susu, then even if Yin Susu became Zhang Qiushan's wife, he would find it difficult to forgive her, not to mention the brothers who were as close to Yu Dang as brothers. Zhang Qiushan felt guilty about Yu Dang, but he couldn't bear to kill his beloved wife, so it was not surprising that he made such a choice. Thinking of this, Zhang San couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. Even he felt that the matter between these two disciples was a little tricky. Xiao Fan, Yu Dang's limbs were crippled by the powerful Vajra finger, and the person who attacked should be a disciple of the Western region Vajra sect. However, before that, Yu Dang was shot by a mosquito needle and fell into a coma, which was done by Yin Susu. Therefore, it is not wrong to say that Yin Susu harmed Yu Dang like this, but it is not entirely correct. How to define it depends on Yu Dang's attitude. Zhang San, thank you, Mr. Zhao, for your doubts. I will talk to Dang and Qiushan about this matter. I will remember the great kindness of Ms. Su and Mr. Zhao in my heart, and I am very grateful. Xiao Fan, you are welcome. It is a fate that everyone can join this chat group from all over the world. Helping each other and making progress together is the purpose of this group. Xiaoxiao. I insist on responding to Mr. Zhao's call and abiding by the purpose of mutual help, so Master Zhang, You don't have to be polite. By the way, in fact, Yu Dayan's condition can still be cured. Zhang San was excited when he saw Xiaoxiao's news. If Yu Dayan can really be cured, it will be a great joy for both Zhang Qiushan and himself. Zhang San, at Xiaoxiao, I don't know how to treat Dayan. Please give me some advice. Xiaoxiao, Yu Dayan was injured by the powerful Vajra finger of the Western region Vajra sect. And the Western region Vajra sect also has a plaster called Black Jade Fracture Paste that can make him recover. It's just that the treatment process is a bit painful. It is necessary to pinch all the bones and muscles of the whole body again, and then apply the Black Jade Fracture Paste. Zhang San, although it is painful, it is always good to be able to recover. Wang Teng, what's so difficult about this? In our world, even if the body is destroyed, it can be revived. The injuries to the muscles and bones are not worth mentioning at all. Yan Lingjai, he. I remember that someone was beaten to death by brother Xiao Fan before, right? Wang Teng, Humphrey, I was just careless for a moment. Don't just talk nonsense. If you have the ability, try to fight me. Yan Lingjai, I won't fight you. Slightly. Xiaoxiao, everyone should value harmony. Helping each other among group members is the right way. Fighting and killing is not good. Speaking of which, the other newcomer has not shown up yet. Zagbo, this newcomer is more cautious than when I first joined the group. Yan Lingjai, at Miguzuyan, why doesn't the newcomer come out? Come out and say hello to everyone. Xiaoxiao, he. This newcomer is a little special. Qian Renxu, what's special about him? Zhu Yuanzhang, same question. Xiaoxiao, this newcomer is not a human, but a transformed mysterious beast. Tushan Hongong, huh? I have a companion now? I wonder what race the newcomer is? Before this, among the members of the Wanji chat group, only Tushan Hongong was not a human, although everyone treated them the same. Tushan Hongong still hoped that there would be a special group member like her in the group. Miguzuyan, at Tushan Hongong, you are not a human neither? If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163, The Surprise and Suspicion of Miguzuyan. The Heavenly Punishment Beast King. The world of the evil king. In another world, deep in the forest of punishment, there is a quiet place. In the simple stone room, Miguzuyan, who was covered in a black robe, was also surprised and doubtful when she heard the strange voice in her mind at first. After careful investigation, Miguzuyan found that there were no strangers around, and there was no sign of being plotted against. However, Miguzuyan did not relax her vigilance, and did not rush to show up in the chat group. She kept observing the news of everyone in the group. Through Xiaoxiao's introduction, Miguzuyan learned about the function of the Wanji chat group, and then saw the news of everyone in the group. After observing for a long time, she confirmed the authenticity of the Wanji chat group. However, Miguzuyan found that the other members who spoke in the chat group were all humans. She was cautious and still did not speak rashly. It was not until Tushan Hongong spoke that Miguzuyan finally sent a message. Wanji chat group, chat interface. Tushan Hongong, at Miguzuyan, yes, the place where I live is called Tushan, and almost everyone living here is my same race. By the way, I am a fox. I wonder what race you are? Miguzuyan, the fox tribe. In the Tanfa forest, the fox tribe has not produced a king. Xiao Fan, at Tushan Hongong, Miguzuyan is the beast king of the Tanfa forest and the only snow marten in the Tanfa forest. She has no tribe. Miguzuyan, does Mr. Xiao also know everything about the world I live in? Xiao Fan, I can't say I know everything, but 90% should be no problem. For example, Peng Wang, the second-ranked beast king in the Tanfa forest, left the Tanfa forest and followed Yun Bai Ichan, the leader of the 8 supreme beings of mankind. In the world of the evil monarch, deep in the Tanfa forest, in a simple stone chamber, Miguzuyan saw the message sent by Xiao Fan, and a strong murderous aura appeared on her body. The fact that Peng Wang left the Tanfa forest and followed Yun Bai Yichen has always been regarded as a great shame by the beast kings of the Tanfa forest. Mai Xuyan took a deep breath to calm herself down. After calming down, she suddenly thought of something extremely important to the Tanfa forest. Mai Xuyan, Xiao Fan, since you claim to know 90% of the things in our world, then do you know the content of the last words left by the senior beast king of the heaven punishment forest? Xiao Fan, of course I know. The punishment from heaven cannot be found. The beast king returns to his true self. The punishment from heaven lasts for 10,000 years. Success or failure depends on one person. Is this the right sentence? Mai Xuyan's face changed when she saw the message sent by Xiao Fan. She was just testing it out. Few people in the heaven punishment forest knew this sentence. She didn't expect Xiao Fan to actually know it. Mai Xuyan couldn't help but believe what Xiao Fan said before. Mai Xuyan, Xiao Fan, you are right. This is indeed the sentence. So, Master Xiao, do you know what this sentence means? And who is the one who succeeds or fails? Xiao Fan, the punishment from heaven cannot be found means that the treasure of the heaven punishment forest, the holy fruit of heaven punishment, was stolen. The beast king returns to his true self means that you encounter a catastrophe of life and death. The punishment from heaven lasts for 10,000 years. Success or failure depends on one person, and the person referred to is Junmoi. Of course, this is the situation according to your original life trajectory. Now that you have joined the chat group and know the future in advance, you can change your original destiny. Linking Zhu, Mr. Zhao and Ms. Su mentioned before that there are children of destiny in every world. Jun Moxie should be the child of destiny in Mai Xuyan's world, right? Su Xiaoxiao, Miss Ling guessed correctly. The child of destiny in Miss Mai's world was Jun Moxie. By the way, I wonder if Miss Mai has met Jun Moxie now? Mai Xuyan, this is the first time I heard of the name Jun Moxie today. Yan Lingjai, he. Did Miss Mai have some kind of intimate relationship with the child of destiny, Jun Moxie, and then this Jun Moxie helped Miss Mai in the Tanfa forest to survive the disaster? Naughty, Wan. If nothing unexpected happens, it should be this script. Smirk, Su Xiaoxiao, you guessed right. However, now that Miss Mai knows the original trajectory of her destiny, it depends on her whether to change it. Smirk, in the world of the evil king of another world, deep in the Tanfa forest, Mai Xuyan looked at the messages from several people and frowned slightly. Although because of the battle to seize the sky, the mysterious beasts of the Tanfa forest and humans have cooperated, which made Mai Xuyan make many concessions when facing humans. But this does not mean that Mai Xuyan will get close to humans. After a while of thinking, Mai Xuyan asked a question in the group again. Mai Xuyan, Xiao Fan, does Mr. Zhao know who stole the Tanfa holy fruit? Xiao Fan, at Mai Xuyan, the person who stole the Tanfa holy fruit was Jun Moxie. Mai Xuyan, what? How could the person who stole the Tanfa holy fruit and the person who helped the Tanfa forest survive the disaster be the same person? Su Xiaoxiao, Mr. Zhao is right. In fact, it is the same person. The situation at that time was, soon, Su Xiaoxiao told the story of the Tanfa war and Jun Moxie pretending to be a master and sneaking into the Tanfa forest. Mai Xuyan, at Su Xiaoxiao, at Xiao Fan. Thank you Miss Su and Mr. Zhao for telling me. Xiao Fan, you're welcome, but this Jun Moxie has given some rewards to the beast kings of the heaven punishment forest, helping many beast kings to heal or improve their strength. Mai Xuyan, it's better to have the holy fruit in our own hands. Xiao Fan, in fact, I believe Miss Mai knows the efficacy and danger of the heaven punishment holy fruit. If it is used directly, it is still quite dangerous. I may be able to use the heaven punishment holy fruit to refine pills, so as to avoid danger. Mai Xuyan, thank you for your kindness, Mr. Zhao. I will consider it. Obviously, in Mai Xuyan's heart, she doesn't trust Xiao Fan very much, and is worried that Xiao Fan also covets the heaven punishment holy fruit. Xiao Fan, the holy fruit should not be ripe yet, but there is no rush. In addition, I am somewhat interested in the world where Miss Mai is, and I plan to go there for a visit. It shouldn't be inconvenient for Miss Mai, right? In the world of the evil lord, deep in the heaven punishment forest, in the simple stone chamber, Ma Xuyan in a black robe looked at Xiao Fan's news and hesitated slightly. Ma Xuyan was still a little wary of people. Xiaoxiao, at Ma Xuyan, as the group leader, you can actually reach the world of group members without the group members' consent. Lord Thunder Emperor is willing to tell everyone, which is also a respect for everyone. Moreover, Lord Thunder Emperor has been to all of our worlds, and we have all received help from Lord Thunder Emperor. Yan Lingjai, with the help of Brother Xiao Fan, I am now a strong man at the level of a land immortal. Brother Xiao Fan is the best. Hug, Qian Renxu, because of the help of Master Xiao, I can almost be said to be the master in our world. Soon, others also expressed Xiao Fan's help to them, although they don't know why Xiao Fan likes to go to the world of new members, since it is what Xiao Fan wants to do. They will express their support appropriately. Ma Xuyan saw the messages sent by everyone, and her eyes couldn't help but change slightly. After a while, she also sent a message in the group. Ma Xuyan, at Xiao Fan, it's not inconvenient, but my brothers and sisters are not worldly wise. I hope Master Xiao won't bother with them. Xiao Fan, don't worry, I understand. Then I will go to Miss Mai's world now, and the rest of you can continue chatting. After Xiao Fan replied to a message, he directly used the chat group function to travel to the world of the evil lord of another world. Chapter 164 New Sign-In, Holy Fruit of Heaven Punishment. In the world of the evil lord of another world, deep in the forest of heavenly punishment, Ma Xuyan, shrouded in a wide black robe, walked out of the simple stone room, carefully paying attention to the surroundings, wanting to know how Fan would come to their world. At this moment, Ma Xuyan suddenly sensed that a space fluctuation appeared in the sky not far away, and an illusory light gate suddenly appeared. Then, a handsome young man in a green shirt appeared from the illusory light gate, like walking up the stairs, step by step, and landed 1 meter away from her, flying in the air, as if walking on flat ground. Ma Xuyan's pupils shrank slightly when she saw this scene. This level is probably not much worse than the Saint King predecessors guarding the forbidden land of heavenly punishment. When Ma Xuyan looked at Xiao Fan was also looking at Ma Xuyan, the heavenly punishment beast king, but Ma Xuyan was shrouded in a black robe and could not see the other party's appearance and figure clearly, which was a bit regrettable. Xiao Fan smiled and said, Miss Mai, sorry to bother you. Ma Xuyan bowed and said, Mr. Xiao, you are too polite. I wonder what your plans are. If he is in the Sky Punishment Forest, I can still introduce him to others. If he wants to visit the human world, I am afraid I cannot get away for the time being. Xiao Fan said, is it because of the human army outside the Sky Punishment Forest? As soon as Xiao Fan arrived at the Sky Punishment Forest, his powerful soul power sensed that there were quite a few human armies outside the Sky Punishment Forest, and they were hostile to it. Ma Xuyan responded, yes, this time the 2 supreme beings of mankind have jointly issued the supreme summoning order, summoning many powerful humans. Even our Tanfa forest must be cautious. Xiao Fan raised his eyebrows slightly when he heard this. I didn't expect it to be such a coincidence, but I remember that before the war between Tanfa forest and humans, the punishment heaven holy fruit was induced to mature under the leadership of the Snake King, and then stolen by Jun Moxie. If Miss Mai doesn't want the punishment heaven holy fruit to be stolen, it might be better for her to come forward in person. When Ma Xuyan heard Xiao Fan's words, she also remembered what Xiao Fan and Xiaoxiao had said before, and her expression was slightly stern. In that case, I will go to guard the punishment heaven holy fruit myself. I want to see how the human named Jun Moxie steals the holy fruit. Xiao Fan smiled and said, I will go with Miss Mai to see this holy fruit cultivated by countless strange poisons in the world. Although Ma Xuyan was a little worried that Xiao Fan would also covet the holy fruit of heaven punishment, she couldn't say it to his face. She secretly thought in her heart that she would do her best to protect the holy fruit and never let anyone take it away. Next, Xiao Fan went to the location of the holy fruit of heaven punishment with Ma Xuyan. On the way, Xiao Fan did not forget the main purpose of this trip, and directly gave the system a sign-in command in his heart. Ding! Sign-in successful. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained the Chaos Body. It turned out to be the Chaos Body. Hearing the content of this sign-in reward, Xiao Fan was suddenly surprised. The chaos body is also called the exiled immortal body. It can evolve all things and destroy all things. It is a physique favored by heaven and earth. People with chaos body will not be suppressed by the laws of heaven and earth, and have unlimited potential. Xiao Fan didn't expect that he would sign in such a strong physique in this world. Xiao Fan was just feeling happy when he suddenly felt a subtle change in his body, which seemed to be able to contain everything in the world. Not only that, Xiao Fan felt that his physical strength had been improved again, at least comparable to that of a 9th-level magic beast. What surprised Xiao Fan even more was that he could now absorb different types of energy substances from any world, and at the same time transform them into chaotic energy to fight against the enemy. It seems that the chaotic body rewarded by the system is somewhat different from the chaotic body of the world of the heaven-shading world. Mr. Zhao, what are you thinking about? Mike Zuyan, who was standing aside, saw that Xiao Fan seemed to be distracted, so she asked. Hearing Mike Zuyan's voice, Xiao Fan retracted his thoughts and smiled. Nothing, I just tried to practice, and I didn't expect that I could also absorb the energy substances in your world to improve myself. Mike Zuyan said in confusion. Isn't it normal to absorb the energy between heaven and earth to improve yourself? Xiao Fan explained. The energy absorbed by practitioners in different worlds is not the same. When you have time, go to other group members' worlds to try to practice and you will know. I see. Mike Zuyan nodded slightly, indicating that she understood. As they were talking, they soon came to a place with extremely sticky air. There, the air was filled with endless toxins. In this highly toxic area, there grew a towering tree, and under the tree, there grew a strange plant. The stem, which was as thick as a little finger, was actually colorful. From top to bottom, there grew 9 leaves, crystal clear, and each leaf was a different color. On each leaf, there was a drop of crystal dew, rolling back and forth without falling off the leaf. At the top, there grew a strange fruit that flashed with 7 colors of fluorescence. There was no doubt that this strange fruit was the treasure of the Heaven Punishment Forest, the Heaven Punishment Holy Fruit. Next to the Heaven Punishment Holy Fruit, stood a girl in green. The girl in green had extremely fair skin, picturesque eyebrows, and was beautiful. She was full of a mysterious aura that seemed innocent and charming. The girl looked like she was 17 or 18 years old, but her figure was extremely mature and full, with bumps and curves, which could be called a devil figure. This girl was the Snake King Xiaoxiao. As Xiaoxiao made a hissing sound, countless poisonous creatures came one after another and spit venom on the Fashion Holy Fruit. The Fashion Holy Fruit absorbed more and more venom, and the surface of the fruit kept changing colors, getting closer and closer to maturity. Sister, why are you here? Who is this? Seeing Mike Zuyan coming, Xiaoxiao hurriedly came up to her and asked, and at the same time, she looked at Xiao Fan beside Mike Zuyan with some curiosity. Mike Zuyan said, I learned that someone was hiding in the dark and coveting the Fashion Holy Fruit, so I came to check. Have you noticed any unusual movements around? Xiaoxiao's face changed slightly when she heard this. Who dares to covet the holy fruit of our Tanfa forest? I didn't find anything unusual. At the same time, as in the original work, Junmoi also came here, and with the help of the yin-yang escape ability obtained from Hongjun Tower, he hid in the dark and waited for the Fashion Holy Fruit to mature. Of course, in Junmoi's eyes, this Fashion Holy Fruit is called the 1,000 Evils and 10,000 Poisons Fruit. Junmoi was slightly startled when he heard Mike Zuyan's words. He was now in the depths of the Heavenly Punishment Forest, surrounded by countless mysterious beasts, and there were at least 2 great kings of mysterious beasts. Once he was discovered, wouldn't he be dead without a burial place? Junmoi immediately calmed his mind and used the yin-yang escape to the extreme, trying his best to hide himself. When Mike Zuyan asked Xiaoxiao, she had actually used her spiritual sense to sense the surroundings, but she didn't find anything. Mike Zuyan frowned slightly and said to Xiao Fan on the side, Mr. Zhao, have you found any trace of that person? Chapter 165 Xiaoxiao's suspicion, Jun Moxie appears. Xiao Fan shook his head slightly. I didn't find it either, but I can be sure that he must be here. We can't find it because the yin-yang escape that he has mastered is very mysterious. He can hide in the void at any time and anywhere, no matter what environment it is, It can perfectly hide itself, and there will be no smell or taste leaking out. Jun Moxie, who was hiding in the dark, was shocked when he heard Xiao Fan's words. Damn, who is this person? He actually knows my cards so clearly. Fortunately, he can't find out. This made Jun Moxie secretly proud again, and he was very satisfied with the ability given by Hongjun Tower. Qianxun asked with some doubt, "You told my elder sister that someone was hiding in the dark and coveting the holy fruit? You didn't do it on purpose, so that my elder sister brought you to the vicinity of the holy fruit. In fact, you are the one who covets the holy fruit?" Jun Moxie, who was hiding in the dark, heard the words and tried hard not to laugh. He thought to himself, is this going to start an internal conflict? That's great, let's fight quickly, so that I can take advantage of the chaos. Xiao Fan said calmly, if I want to snatch the heaven punishment holy fruit, why would I have to go through so much trouble? In the absence of the Saint Kings and your heaven punishment forbidden land, all of you combined are no threat to me. Boom. As soon as the sound fell, Xiao Fan released his powerful aura and pressed towards Qianxun. Ding ding ding. Under the pressure of Xiao Fan's aura, Qianxun's body retreated uncontrollably and kept hitting the tree trunk before she stabilized her body. Her internal organs were rolling endlessly. According to the feedback Xiao Fan received from the chat group, Mai Xuyan was only equivalent to the Zong level, and Qianxun was even weaker, so naturally she couldn't withstand Xiao Fan's aura. Jun Moxie, who was hiding in the dark, sensed Xiao Fan's powerful aura. His face changed drastically, and he cried out in his heart that he was unlucky. Where did this guy come from? Even Li Juishan, the second of the 8 supremes, is far inferior to him, right? Mai Xuyan's expression changed slightly when she saw this, and she said quickly, Mr. Zhao, you promised before that you would not argue with my brothers and sisters. Xiao Fan retracted his momentum and smiled slightly. I just want to confirm the truth of what I said. Mai Xuyan said, of course I believe Mr. Zhao, but I wonder if Mr. Zhao has a way to make the person who is hiding in the dark and coveting the holy fruit of heaven show up. After Xiao Fan retracted his momentum, Qianxun suddenly felt her body lighten, and the terrifying pressure just now disappeared. Qianxun was in a state of doubt, wondering who this person was and how powerful he was. With just his momentum just now, I'm afraid that my elder sister is really not his opponent. Could it be that what he said was true, that there was really someone hiding in the dark, waiting to steal the holy fruit? Thinking in her heart, Qianxun tried her best to sense the surroundings, but she still found nothing. Hearing Mai Xuyan asking Xiao Fan, Qianxun couldn't help but look at Xiao Fan, wanting to see how Fan would answer. When Xiao Fan heard Mai Xuyan's question, he smiled and said, any escape method cannot escape from time and space. Although I don't understand the way of time, I am quite proficient in space. Space annihilation. Xiao Fan whispered in his heart, and randomly used one of his space magics in a direction. The next moment, in the shocked eyes of Mai Xuyan and Qianxun, they saw that not far in front of them, the space suddenly annihilated and turned into nothingness. But soon, the world repaired itself, and that space returned to normal. It seemed that nothing had happened just now. Jun Moxie, who was hiding in the dark, was also frightened and broke into a cold sweat. The annihilated space just now was not far from where he was hiding, and he was almost affected. If he was not worried about being discovered by Xiao Fan and Mai Xuyan, Jun Moxie would have wanted to escape immediately. Although the 1,000 evils and poisons fruit is precious, compared to it, life is definitely more precious. Xiao Fan ignored the shock of several people, as if talking to the air. Jun Moxie, do you think you can still hide if I annihilate all the space around you? Even if you hide in Hongjun Tower, the annihilation of space cannot hurt your life, but the shattered space can also drag you and Hongjun Tower into the space turbulence, and you can never return to Xiaoxiao Incontinent. Can you let go of your relatives and friends in Xiaoxiao Incontinent? Jun Moxie, who was hiding in the dark, couldn't help but twitch his face when he heard Xiao Fan's words. Who is this guy? How can he know my details so clearly? Jun Moxie had to admit that Xiao Fan's words really hit his soft spot. Now many of his relatives and friends are in the human coalition outside the Tanfa forest, but the leader of the human coalition is determined to kill all the people in the Jun family. The mysterious beasts in the Tanfa forest are a great threat to all humans, and the people of the Jun family are no exception. Didn't he enter the heaven punishment forest this time just to find Xiaoxiao and Zhang and find a way to prevent the mysterious beasts from attacking the people of the Jun family? If he was caught in the spatial turbulence, all the people of the Jun family would be dead. Taking a deep breath, Jun Moxie suppressed all the thoughts in his mind and slowly released the yin-yang escape. An overwhelming and terrifying pressure suddenly appeared and pressed towards Xiao Fan, Mingzuyan, Qianxun, and a group of mysterious beasts. Deep in Qianxun's heart, an irresistible and irresistible feeling of decadence suddenly rose, and she couldn't help but be shocked. There really is someone hiding in the dark. Qianxun no longer has any doubts about Xiao Fan's words at this moment. Mingzuyan also felt a lot of pressure at this moment, and her face was full of solemnity. Xiao Fan snorted in his heart, and directly displayed the magical dragon power and the powerful soul deterrence to fight against the pressure, but it was only a draw. Xiao Fan was not worried, because he knew that this was the pressure exerted by Jun Mozi with the help of Hongjun Tower, and it would not last long. At this time, a black figure appeared in the sight of the three people, and even his face and feet were covered tightly with black cloth. This black figure was naturally Jun Mozi. Jun Mozi deliberately pretended to be a master, and made a unique voice that was old and clear. "You young man, you actually want to exile me into the turbulence of space. Your mind is too vicious. I just happened to pass by here, saw the 1,000 evils and 10,000 poisons fruit that is hard to find in the world, and paid more attention to it. How could I covet it?" When the Snake King Qianxun heard this, his eyes suddenly spit fire. This old guy is really shameless. This lie is not believed by ghosts. The Heaven Punishment Forest spent 350 years of hard work for this Heaven Punishment holy fruit, and countless mysterious beasts dedicated their lives to it. Snake King Qianxun also put in a lot of effort. In the past year, she has been responsible for the arduous task of guarding the maturity of the holy fruit before the deadline. If Xiao Fan and Mingzuyan hadn't come, the holy fruit would have been stolen. Qianxun was naturally furious with Jun Mu. Mingzuyan said coldly, "Jun Mu, don't pretend to be a senior. I know you are the third young master of the Jun family of the Tangxiang Empire. You are less than 20 years old. Now you are just using treasures to be mysterious. For the sake of Xiaoxiao and Zhang, I won't bother with you this time. Get out. It's best not to play any tricks, even if you can hide. The other people in the Jun family and the Dongfang family don't have the means you have." Chapter 166. The holy fruit is ripe and something unexpected happens. The reason why Mingzuyan knew about the things between Xiaoxiao, Zhang, and Jun Moxie was because she had seen the content of the messages sent by Xiao Fan and Xiaoxiao in the group before. Although Jun Moxie had deceived Xiaoxiao and Zhang, he was still helpful. In addition, Mingzuyan was a little afraid of Jun Moxie's magical methods just now. In addition, Jun Moxie had not yet stolen the holy fruit of heavenly punishment, so she was ready to let him go. Of course, the main reason was that Mingzuyan was too kind and generally would not kill. When Jun Moxie heard Mingzuyan's words, his face changed. He never thought that Mingzuyan knew his situation so clearly. At the same time, Jun Moxie was also very unhappy with the threat implied in Mingzuyan's words. But at the moment, the situation was not as good as others, so Jun Moxie had to endure it. Taking a deep breath, Jun Moxie said again, "Your Excellency, as one of the kings of the Heaven Punishment Forest, you know more about the 1,000 evils and poisons fruit than I do. After the Mystic Beast King takes it, I am afraid that there is a high probability that his body will explode and die. I can refine it into a pill, and then increase his strength without danger." Mingzuyan said, "Can you refine the pill on the spot?" Jun Moxie pondered and said, "I don't bother to lie. I can't do it for the time being, but within 3 years, I will definitely be able to refine a suitable pill." Mingzuyan said indifferently, "No need, please go back." Jun Moxie's mind turned rapidly when he heard it. He came to the Heaven Punishment Forest this time mainly to find Xiaoxiao and Zhang, and ask them for help. At that time, let the Mystic Beast bypass the Jun family's team and attack other people. As for the discovery of the 1,000 evils and poisons fruit, It was just a pleasant surprise. Now the thousand evils and poisons fruit seems to be impossible to obtain. I will think of a way later. I hope they will not take it directly. As for now, I'd better go to Xiaoxiao and Zhongkeishan first. After thinking for a while, Jun Moxie said, "In that case, I will take my leave. If you change your mind, you can send someone to Jun's house to find me." At this point, Jun Moxie no longer had to hide anything. After he finished speaking, Jun Moxie looked at Xiao Fan and Mai Xuyan deeply, and then turned and left. After Jun Moxie's figure left, Mai Xuyan asked Xiao Fan, "Mr. Xiao, is Jun Moxie really gone?" Xiao Fan pondered and said, "He should have left. However, just in case, I can cast a space barrier around the punishment heaven holy fruit." Mai Xuyan said, "Thank you very much, Mr. Xiao. It's just a small favor." "You're welcome." Xiao Fan smiled and cast a space barrier directly within a radius of 100 meters. Of course, Xiao Fan, Mai Xuyan and Qianxun all stayed within the protection range of the space barrier. Now that the punishment heaven holy fruit is about to mature, the mysterious beasts within a radius of 100 meters are enough to provide it with sufficient venom. Under the gaze of Xiao Fan and the other two, another hour passed, and the heaven punishment holy fruit finally absorbed enough venom, and its appearance transformed into a gorgeous purple gold color. This means that the heaven punishment holy fruit is about to be fully mature. At this moment, the heaven punishment holy fruit bloomed with a brilliant light that was almost like the stars, just like the gorgeous stars in the night sky, suddenly descending on the heaven punishment forest. The beauty of this moment is incomparable and cannot be described in words. Like a proud king, looking down on all living beings with grace and generosity, this short moment fully shows the beauty of the heaven punishment holy fruit, a divine fruit among fruits, which matures in an instant and dominates the world. Qianxun, who was waiting beside the holy fruit, showed an extremely intoxicated look in her eyes. She slowly took out a fist-sized and extremely exquisite Xoani box from her arms, opened the lid, and waited quietly. All her actions were so careful, as if she was afraid of disturbing the heaven punishment holy fruit that had no life at all. Because the heaven punishment holy fruit must wait until it ripens and falls by itself, only then can it be truly and completely mature. After a while, in the eyes of Qianxun and Mai Xuyan, the heaven punishment holy fruit trembled twice on the branch, and then the branches below suddenly withered and turned into a pile of ashes. At this moment, the purple gold fruit suspended in the air stopped in the void, and finally fell gracefully. Qianxun came up excitedly, aimed the mouth of the black jade box at the heaven punishment holy fruit, and steadily received it in the black jade box. After the heaven punishment holy fruit was put into the black jade box, Qianxun finally let out a long breath and completely relaxed. "Big sister, here you go." Qianxun carefully closed the lid of the black jade box, and then handed it to Mai Xuyan. "Finally succeeded. It's worth the 350 years of hard work that I spent on the heaven punishment forest." Mai Xuyan was about to take the black jade box, and suddenly felt a restlessness in her body. Mai Xuyan was already on the verge of a breakthrough, but she had been suppressing it. When she joined the chat group, Mai Xuyan was preparing to break through in seclusion. However, a series of events happened later, and she once again forcibly suppressed the breakthrough. But after receiving the heaven punishment holy fruit this time, Mai Xuyan found that she could no longer suppress it in her excitement. "I have to retreat to break through now." "Qianxun, you keep the holy fruit first, and entertain Master Xiao for me." "Master Xiao, I'm sorry." After saying that, Mai Xuyan's figure flashed and she quickly went to the stone chamber where she practiced before. Xiao Fan looked at Mai Xuyan's departing back and raised his eyebrows slightly. In the original novel, Mai Xuyan failed to break through and turned into the state of the mysterious beast snow god Martin. She was encountered by Junmo and ravaged like a pet, and then there was the emotional entanglement between Mai Xuyan and Junmo. Could it be that the plot has been revised and the scene in the original novel will appear again? Thinking of this, Xiao Fan said to Qianxun, "Ms. Qianxun, at the critical moment of Miss Mai's breakthrough, it's a bit inappropriate for no one to protect her, right?" Qianxun subconsciously said, "In the center of the Danfa forest." What? Halfway through, Qianxun suddenly thought of Jun Moxie whom she had just met, and her face changed slightly. Mr. Xiao, you are right. I will go to protect my elder sister. Xiao Fan said, I have nothing to do, so I will go with you. Thank you, Mr. Xiao. Xiaoxiao heard the words, thanked him, and accepted Xiao Fan's kindness. Originally, Xiaoxiao was very suspicious of Xiao Fan, but after experiencing what happened just now, Xiaoxiao not only dispelled her suspicion of Xiao Fan, but also felt grateful in her heart, and her trust in him also soared. Soon, the two arrived at the stone room where Mai Xuyan was practicing in seclusion, and silently protected Mai Xuyan. A thick white mist that seemed to be real enveloped Mai Xuyan, and the white mist was so dense that it almost condensed into a substance. As time passed, the white mist swirled faster and faster, gradually forming a whirlwind, and from time to time it made a sharp whoosh sound. Obviously, it had reached the most critical moment. At this moment, from the south of the center of the Danfa forest, a dark and miserable howl suddenly came. The volume of this howl was very low, but it was very penetrating. The sound shook the center of the Danfa forest, and there was chaos everywhere. The stone chamber where Mai Xuyan practiced was also shaken. The white mist surrounding her body trembled suddenly, and the speed of rotation also slowed down. In fact, the mist had gradually become scattered. Chapter 167 Breakthrough, Mai Xuyan's Gratitude. Wow! In the white mist, a mouthful of bloody red blood spurted out, and the land in front of him was covered with a blood mist, and instantly it was scarlet. At the same time, the white mist surrounding Mai Xuyan's body became more and more scattered, almost losing its shape. This situation is obviously a sign of failure to break through. Seeing this, Xiaoxiao's face changed drastically, and her eyes were full of worry, but she did not dare to make any rash moves. Calm down and concentrate. Xiao Fan looked at Mai Xuyan's appearance, frowned slightly, and shouted softly. There seemed to be a magical power in Xiao Fan's voice. Mai Xuyan, who was originally affected by the hoarse howling sound and fell into a disordered mind, regained her composure in an instant, and even directly entered a state of emptiness, and devoted herself to the breakthrough of cultivation. This is naturally because Xiao Fan mixed a strong soul deterrent in his voice, which made Mai Xuyan subconsciously obey. Not only Mai Xuyan, but Xiaoxiao, who was standing by, was also greatly affected, and suddenly had a desire to surrender and worship Xiao Fan. Although that thought quickly disappeared, Xiaoxiao's eyes were full of awe when she looked at Xiao Fan. However, now was not the time to consider other things. Xiaoxiao kept a close eye on Mai Xuyan's position. The white mist surrounding Mai Xuyan's body slowly condensed and took shape again, and turned into substance. Seeing this scene, Xiaoxiao was relieved and grateful to Xiao Fan, because Xiaoxiao had already seen that Mai Xuyan's breakthrough would not be a problem this time, and she also understood that Xiao Fan had used some unique method to help Mai Xuyan stabilize her mind. At this time, Xiaoxiao thought of the location where the howling sound came from just now, which was the location of the Heavenly Punishment Cave. The Saint Kings of the Heavenly Punishment Forest were in the Heavenly Punishment Cave. Could it be that something happened to the Saint Kings? The Saint Kings of the Heavenly Punishment Cave were the true foundation of the Heavenly Punishment Forest. It was no wonder that Mai Xuyan, the contemporary Beast King of the Heavenly Punishment Forest, lost his mind because of the changes in the Heavenly Punishment Cave. After a while of thinking, Xiaoxiao decided to protect her elder sister Mai Xuyan first. As for the things with the Saint King seniors, she couldn't care about them now. Under the silent attention of Xiao Fan and Xiaoxiao, an hour passed quickly. The white mist surrounding Mai Xuyan's body slowly merged into her body, and the momentum of Mai Xuyan instantly broke through a certain limit. After a while, the white mist surrounding Mai Xuyan dissipated, and Mai Xuyan, who was dressed in a black robe, also slowly finished her work. With a flash of light in her eyes, Xiao Fan checked Mai Xuyan's information through the chat group and found that Mai Xuyan's cultivation had been upgraded from the 2nd level of Venerable to the 3rd level of Venerable. Mai Xuyan was equivalent to a 4-star Zong before, but now she is directly comparable to a 6-star Zong. Congratulations to Ms. Mai for your great progress in cultivation. Xiao Fan looked at Mai Xuyan and opened her eyes, smiling and congratulating her. Sister, you have broken through. That's great. I was scared to death just now. Xiaoxiao was excited when she saw Mike Zuian's successful breakthrough. Mike Zuian stood up and bowed slightly to Xiao Fan. Thanks to Mr. Xiao for his help just now. Otherwise, not only would I have failed to break through, but I might also have been seriously injured. Xiao Fan waved his hand casually, and a gentle force lifted Mike Zuian up, and said with a smile, "Miss Mai, you don't have to be polite. I just moved my mouth." Zuian will definitely remember Mr. Xiao's kindness in her heart, Mike Zuian said solemnly, and then continued, "The miserable howl just now came from the mouth of the senior in the heavenly punishment forbidden land. I don't know if the senior in the heavenly punishment forbidden land has a problem. I have to go and check it out first. I'll leave you for now. Xiaoxiao, please entertain Mr. Xiao for me." After that, Mike Zuian bowed slightly to Xiao Fan, and disappeared from the spot in a few flashes. Xiaoxiao said to Xiao Fan at this time, "Mr. Xiao, thank you for helping my elder sister break through just now." Xiaoxiao is very grateful. Xiao Fan smiled. "Your elder sister has already thanked you just now. There is no need to keep thanking you." Xiaoxiao smiled coquettishly. "Then I will be polite to Mr. Xiao. By the way, I wonder how Mr. Xiao and my elder sister know each other." Xiao Fan smiled and said, "As for this, when your elder sister is free, you can ask your elder sister." Xiaoxiao saw that Xiao Fan was unwilling to say more, so she had to change the subject. The two chatted for a while, and Mike Zuian returned. "Eldest sister, have you figured out what happened just now?" Seeing Mike Zuian coming back, Xiaoxiao asked with concern. Mike Zuian said solemnly, "Senior Saint King said that a strong man broke into the Tanfa forest. He just had a spiritual consciousness collision with him, and his spiritual consciousness was slightly injured." Xiaoxiao said, "We have never encountered a human breaking into the center of the Tanfa forest before. How come there were two intruders today?" Xiao Fan smiled and said, "Actually, you don't have to worry, there are not two intruders. The person who collided with the spiritual consciousness of the senior from Tanfa later was the Jun Moxie from before." Xiaoxiao said, "That Jun Moxie's spiritual consciousness could actually hurt Senior Saint King? It's too incredible." Mike Zuian pondered for a moment and asked, "Mr. Xiao, is it the effect of Jun Moxie's treasure again?" Xiao Fan nodded slightly. "Miss Mai guessed correctly. Jun Moxie's treasure is called Hongjun Tower. It has very comprehensive and powerful functions. If he is an enemy of Jun Moxie, unless he kills him in an instant, otherwise, with the help of that treasure, he is almost invincible." Xiaoxiao muttered, "This guy is so lucky that he can get such a powerful treasure." Mike Zuian said, "Could you trouble Mr. Xiao to tell me in detail about Jun Mo?" Xiao Fan nodded and said, "No problem. This Jun Mo." Immediately, Xiao Fan told Mike Zuian and Xiaoxiao everything he knew about Jun Mo. Xiaoxiao raised her eyebrows and said, "It turns out that Jun Mo entered the Heaven Punishment Forest this time just to ask Xiaoxiao and Zhang Keishan for help. Xiaoxiao and Zhang Keishan are really stupid. They were fooled by a junior who is not even a Tanksuan." Mike Zuian said, "Xiaoxiao and Zhang Keishan told me the reason why they attacked the Blood Soul Villa. I didn't expect that all this was planned by a junior Jun Mo. With his own strength, he set off a war between the humans of Xiaoxiao continent and the mysterious beasts of the Heaven Punishment Forest. This guy does have some means." Xiao Fan chuckled and said, "Haha, his means are indeed good. In addition, he has the treasure of Hongjun Tower. If it weren't for the people of the Jun family and the Dongfang family, he would be able to dominate the entire Xiaoxiao continent." Mike Zuian shook her head slightly. "Forget it. Don't worry about him. After this war, the Heaven Punishment Forest will have nothing to do with him. Let him mess around in the human world." After a pause, Mike Zuian said again, "Young Master Xiao said before that refining the Heaven Punishment Holy Fruit into elixir can improve strength without risk. Do you really mean it?" Xiao Fan nodded and said, "Of course I take it seriously. It depends on your choice, Miss Mai." Chapter 168 The Grace Bestowed by Master Xiao. Mike Zuian pondered for a moment, and said solemnly, "Please help, Mr. Xiao, to refine the Heaven Punishment Holy Fruit into a pill." Zhu Yan is very grateful. I just don't know if other medicinal materials are needed. There are countless medicinal materials in the Heaven Punishment Forest. All the medicinal materials you need can be searched by the mysterious beasts below. Xiao Fan shook his head slightly. Different medicinal material ratios will produce different effects for the refined pills. Now this Heaven Punishment holy fruit can be refined alone, and no other medicinal materials are needed. Then I'll trouble you, Mr. Xiao. Zhu Yan heard, and once again said politely to Xiao Fan, and then said to the Snake King Xiaoxiao, give the Heaven Punishment holy fruit to Mr. Xiao. After what happened just now, Zhu Yan already trusted Xiao Fan very much. At the critical moment of her breakthrough just now, if it weren't for Xiao Fan, she would not only fail to break through, but might also go crazy and be seriously injured. Moreover, if Xiao Fan really coveted the Heaven Punishment holy fruit, he could just take it away from Xiaoxiao. After comprehensive consideration, Zhu Yan felt that Xiao Fan's ability to use the Heaven Punishment fruit to refine pills that improve strength was definitely not a lie. Yes, big sister. Xiaoxiao now trusted Xiao Fan very much. After hearing Zhu Yan's words, she agreed without any hesitation and directly handed the black jade box containing the Heaven Punishment fruit to Xiao Fan. Wait a moment. Xiao Fan took the black jade box and said to the two women. With a slight movement of his mind, he took out the automatic alchemy furnace from the system space. Then, under the gaze of Zhu Yan and Xiaoxiao, Xiao Fan opened the automatic alchemy furnace, poured the Heaven Punishment fruit and the black jade box into the automatic alchemy furnace, and then covered the furnace again. Xiao Fan pretended to make a gesture, and with a slight movement of his mind, a blazing flame appeared at the bottom of the automatic alchemy furnace and burned. A quarter of an hour later, the flame automatically extinguished. Seeing this, Xiao Fan cancelled his gesture and directly opened the automatic alchemy furnace. In the furnace, there were 10 more pills with a faint fragrance. Xiao Fan took out the pills from the automatic alchemy furnace, put them into the Xuaniu box, handed them to Zhu Yan, and said with a smile, "Thank you for fulfilling your mission." "Thank you, Mr. Xiao." Zhu Yan thanked him and took the Xuaniu box with excitement. Xiaoxiao was already at the peak level of the 9th level mysterious beast. Just smelling the fragrance of the pills, the mysterious energy in her body became restless, and she felt like she was about to break through. Sensing this scene, Xiaoxiao's face suddenly showed anticipation, and she looked at Zhu Yan on the side. "Sister, this elixir." Although Xiaoxiao didn't finish her words, Zhu Yan already understood what she meant, and smiled. "Don't worry, there's a share for you." Xiaoxiao's face was immediately full of joy when she heard it, and said, "Thank you, sister." "Thank you, Mr. Xiao." Xiao Fan chuckled and said, "It's just a small favor." "You're welcome." "But Miss Mai just said that there are countless medicinal herbs in the Tanfa forest. If you want to thank me, you can pick some for me." Zhu Yan said, "No problem, I will give the order later. In addition, I want to ask, I wonder how long it will take to completely refine and absorb this elixir after taking it?" Xiao Fan said, "It will take no more than an hour to completely absorb and refine it. As for the degree to which it can be improved, it also has something to do with the qualifications and foundation of the Beast King itself." Zhu Yan was delighted when she heard this. "In that case, I will gather all the Beast Kings in the Heaven Punishment Forest now, and introduce Master Xiao to everyone, so that they will remember Master Xiao's great kindness." Xiao Fan smiled and said, "I would like to meet other Beast Kings, but as for the favors, there is no need to mention them." Zhu Yan smiled when she heard this, and did not dwell on this topic. Next, Zhu Yan asked Xiaoxiao to gather all the Beast Kings, while she and Xiao Fan waited here. Previously, because of the movement in the Heaven Punishment Cave, all the Beast Kings in the Heaven Punishment Forest were alarmed, and Xiaoxiao went to find them very smoothly. When they learned that the boss had summoned them, they naturally did not dare to be negligent, and hurried to the place where Xiao Fan and Zhu Yan were. Half an hour later, except for the second brother who was kidnapped by Yun Bai Yichen, the 12th brother who was in retreat, and the 5th and 11th brothers who had been killed, all the other Beast Kings gathered here. "Boss, I wonder what you want us to do." After all the Beast Kings saluted Zhu Yan, Xiaoxiao stepped forward and asked cautiously. Zhu Yan said, Let me introduce you first. The person next to me is young Master Xiao. Not long ago, I almost lost my mind when I was in seclusion to break through. It was he who saved me and helped me break through successfully. What, boss? You lost your mind? The fourth Zhang Keishan's face suddenly changed when he heard Mai Xuyan's words, and he spoke nervously. Qianxun glared at him and said unhappily, "Don't you know how to listen to the whole story when you listen to people? Boss, you almost lost your mind, but with the help of young Master Xiao, you avoided losing your mind and broke through." He Xiaoxiao bowed to Xiao Fan and said gratefully, "Thank you young Master Xiao for your help." Afterwards, the other Beast Kings also thanked Xiao Fan. Mai Xuyan, the boss, still has a heavy weight in the hearts of other Beast Kings. Xiao Fan helped Mai Xuyan, and in their hearts, he is also their benefactor. Xiao Fan smiled and said, "Your boss and I are friends. It's only natural for friends to help each other. You don't have to be too polite." Mai Xuyan continued, "Master Xiao not only helped me, but he also refined the heaven punishment holy fruit into a pill. After taking this pill, you can improve your strength without the danger of exploding." Wow! Hearing Mai Xuyan's words, the Beast Kings were in an uproar. Is the heaven punishment holy fruit finally ripe? The heaven punishment holy fruit has been refined into a pill. After taking it, you can improve your strength without the danger of exploding. Is this true? If you can really improve your strength without the danger of exploding, that would be great. I just don't know how many pills the heaven punishment holy fruit has refined, and whether I can get one. As the Beast Kings of the heaven punishment forest, they naturally knew about the heaven punishment holy fruit. Although the heaven punishment holy fruit can improve your strength, it has a great risk of exploding and dying. This is really a difficult choice for them. But now, after the heaven punishment holy fruit was refined into a pill, it was no longer in danger of exploding. This was the best news. Mai Xuyan looked at the chaotic Beast Kings and said coldly, "Shut up." The Beast Kings saw that Mai Xuyan seemed angry and stopped talking. After the Beast Kings calmed down, Mai Xuyan said, "This time, Master Xiao has refined a total of 10 pills. Each of you can get one. You must remember that this is all the favor given by Master Xiao." "Thank you, boss." "Thank you, Master Xiao." Upon hearing this, the Beast Kings were overjoyed and thanked Mai Xuyan and Xiao Fan in unison. Mai Xuyan said, "Come up now to receive the pills, starting with Xiaoxiao." "Yes, boss." The Beast Kings responded respectfully, and then Xiaoxiao was the first to come forward and receive a pill. Wait a moment. When the Beast Kings received the pills and were about to take them to refine them, Xiao Fan suddenly spoke. Mai Xuyan asked curiously, "Mr. Xiao, what's wrong?" All the Beast Kings looked at Xiao Fan, with puzzlement in their eyes. Chapter 169 The Gratitude of the Beast Kings. The target is Fengxu Silver City. Xiao Fan pointed at Shibuku and Huqi and said, "I think the reason why these two Beast Kings cannot transform into humans is not because of insufficient cultivation, but because of hidden injuries in their bodies, right?" As Xiao Fan finished speaking, the atmosphere in the field suddenly became silent. Lion King Shibuku and Monkey King Huqi both showed an extremely strong sadness in their eyes. Mai Xuyan said in a low voice, 60 years ago, after Lao Yu and Lao Qi transformed, they left the Tanfa forest to venture out, but they were discovered by 4 of the previous 8 supremes and joined forces to besiege them. After a hard battle, Lao Yu and Lao Qi escaped with their lives, but were seriously injured and left with irreversible hidden injuries. They were directly beaten into their original bodies and lost the ability to transform. Xiao Fan said, "If the 2 of them take the elixir at this time, under the influence of the hidden injury, I am afraid that they will not be able to improve their cultivation, and the elixir will be wasted. It is okay for others to take the elixir." Swish. When Shibuku and Huqi heard what Xiao Fan said, their faces were suddenly filled with despair. After a while, Shibuku said in despair, "Boss, you should keep this elixir. When a new king appears in our tribe, give it to the new king to improve his strength." Later, Huqi made the same choice. Qianxun said reluctantly, "Mr. Xiao, since you have seen their situation, do you have any way to treat them?" "Yes, Mr. Xiao, you must have a way. right? Zhang also spoke up after hearing this. The beast kings of their generation grew up at the same time and have been friends for dozens or hundreds of years. Whether it is Qianxin or Zhang and others, they all hope that Shibuku and Hu Qi can recover and continue to serve as beast kings with them, rather than re-electing a new beast king. After hearing what Qianxin and Zhang said, Shibuku and Hu Qi looked at Xiao Fan together, their faces full of expectations. Xiao Fan pondered for a moment, then slowly said, "We can give it a try, but I'm not sure if it can be cured." Zhu Yuanzhang said, "Mr. Xiao is willing to help, which is already a great favor. How dare we ask for more?" Shibuku and Hu Qi hurriedly said, "Whether Mr. Xiao can cure us or not, we will remember your kindness in our hearts." Xiao Fan didn't say much, but stepped forward and put his hand on the shoulder of the Lion King Shibuku, injecting a wisp of qi into Shibuku's body. Although qi is quite different from the Zhuan qi of Xiaoxiao incontinent, it is still easy for Xiao Fan to use it to explore the situation in Shibuku's body. Not long after, Xiao Fan explored the situation in Shibuku's body clearly, and then took back his hand and explored the situation of the Monkey King Hu Qi. After a while, Xiao Fan withdrew his hand and said slowly, "Although the injuries of the Lion King and the Monkey King are not light, you can actually recover slowly on your own. However, there is another inexplicable poisonous energy lurking in your bodies, constantly destroying your meridians that should have been repaired long ago. This has caused your injuries to never heal, and even your cultivation has shown a trend of regression." Qianxin said nervously, "Mr. Xiao, since you can see it, do you have any way to resolve it?" Xiao Fan nodded slightly. "My attribute is thunder, which specializes in countering poisonous energy. I can use thunder energy to purify and expel the poisonous energy in the Lion King and the Monkey King, but it may be painful." Shibuku hurriedly said, "As long as I can recover, I am not afraid of any pain." Hu Qi also nodded repeatedly and said, "Sixth brother is right, I am not afraid of pain either." Xiao Fan said, "Then I will purify the poisonous energy for you now, starting with the Lion King. You be mentally prepared." "Mr. Xiao, just do it," Shibuku said without hesitation. After hearing this, Xiao Fan nodded slightly, stepped forward again and put his hand on Shibuku's shoulder, releasing a wisp of thunder attribute fighting spirit, looking for the location of the sinister air, and then wrapped it in the thunder attribute fighting spirit. When the sinister air was wrapped in the thunder attribute fighting spirit, Xiao Fan's mind moved slightly, urging the thunder attribute fighting spirit to attack the sinister air. As Xiao Fan moved, Shibuku felt a burst of numbness and pain in his body, but he endured it and did not make a sound. After a while, Xiao Fan cleared the sinister air in Shibuku's body, and used the vitality contained in the fighting spirit to treat Shibuku's internal injuries. This vitality is the special ability that Xiao Fan obtained after refining Yimugzuanshan Thunder. A quarter of an hour later, Xiao Fan took his hand away from Shibuku and said with a smile, "It's okay, the poisonous aura has been cleared, and the injuries in your body have also been cured." Roar! Shibuku felt comfortable, roared happily, and turned into a human form. Then he knelt down in front of Xiao Fan with a thump. "Thank you, Mr. Xiao, for your kindness in saving my life." Xiao Fan stepped forward to help Shibuku up, and smiled. "Get up quickly. Your boss and I are friends. Since you're her younger brothers, you are not outsiders. You don't have to be so polite." Zhu Yuanzhang, who was standing aside, listened to Xiao Fan's words, but she felt something different in her heart. Next, Xiao Fan used the same method to cure Hu Qi's injuries. Hu Qi was also grateful to Xiao Fan like Shibuku. When Shibuku and Hu Qi recovered from their injuries, under Zhu Yuanzhang's arrangement, the Beast Kings were divided into two groups and began to take pills to improve their strength. More than an hour later, all the Beast Kings broke through from the peak of level 9 to level 10. Among them, Xiaoxiao and Zhang even reached the peak of level 10 directly. One step further would be the current Venerable Realm of Zhu Yuanzhang. Of course, even if they break through to the Venerable Realm, they will only be at the first level of Venerable Realm, which is still a long way from Zhu Yuanzhang. After the Beast Kings broke through, Zhu Yuanzhang and the other Beast Kings were very grateful to Xiao Fan, and they all sincerely thanked Xiao Fan. After a while of polite talk, Zhu Yuanzhang said to the other Beast Kings, Young Master Xiao can use medicinal herbs to refine various elixirs. There are countless medicinal herbs in the Tanfa forest. You should go and collect the medicinal herbs immediately and bring them to young Master Xiao. Yes, boss. Upon hearing this, the Beast Kings immediately responded respectfully. Xiao Fan smiled and said, "Sorry to trouble you all." Xiaoxiao said, "What you said is not true, young Master Xiao. You have done us a great favor. We are just helping you collect some herbs. It's not worth mentioning at all." Don Keishan patted his chest and said, "Third brother is right, young Master Xiao. Please wait. We will go collect herbs for you." Then, the Beast King said goodbye to Xiao Fan and Zhu Yuanzhang, and then went to collect herbs. After all the Beast Kings left, Zhu Yuanzhang took out 2 of the remaining 3 pills and handed them to Xiao Fan. "Mr. Xiao, these 2 pills are for you." Xiao Fan raised his eyebrows slightly. "What do you mean?" Zhu Yuanzhang said, "If it weren't for Mr. Xiao refining the Heaven Punishment Holy Fruit into pills, we would have used the Heaven Punishment Holy Fruit directly to improve our strength. Maybe we wouldn't be able to successfully improve even one of them, but would have exploded and died. But after you refined the pills, you made my brothers and sisters all improve by 1 level. I really don't know how to repay such a great favor. This pill has no effect on me anymore. I left 1 for the youngest. The remaining 2 are my gift. Mr. Xiao can use them for your relatives." Of the 12 Beast Kings in the Heaven Punishment Forest, the second one was kidnapped by Yun Bai Yichen, and the 5th and 11th ones were killed, including Zhu Yuanzhang. There are only 9 Beast Kings left in the Heaven Punishment Forest. Zhu Yuanzhang didn't use the 10 pills herself, so there were still 2 more. Xiao Fan pondered for a moment and smiled. "Then I won't be polite. These 2 pills can have a good effect on people at or below the Duang realm." So Xiao Fan was too lazy to refuse. Zhu Yuanzhang felt relieved when she saw Xiao Fan accept them, and smiled. "Mr. Xiao said that we are friends, so there is no need to be polite." The 2 chatted and strolled around the Tanfa forest. Xiao Fan found that the forest was similar everywhere and there was nothing to see. So Xiao Fan said goodbye to Zhu Yuanzhang, left the Tanfa forest, and headed towards the human world. Xiao Fan's goal was Fengxu Silver City, or rather, the treasure left by the first young master of Jiuyu deep in the underground world of Fengxu Silver City. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170, Search for Treasures and Have a Great Harvest. In the far north, there is a snowy silver city. Looking around, there is snow and glaciers stretching as far as the eye can see. In this uninhabited place, on the top of the snowy peak, there is a majestic city made of pure ice and snow. It is magnificent and mysterious, hidden in the wind and snow, hidden in the clouds and mist, overlooking the world. A space channel suddenly appeared above the peaceful silver city, and from that space channel, a handsome young man in a green shirt stepped out. There is no doubt that this young man is Xiao Fan, who came from the Tanfa forest. After saying goodbye to Zhu Yuanzhang in the Tanfa forest, Xiao Fan directly used the ability of Space Shuttle to rush to the north, but he was offset at the beginning and shuttled twice more before finally reaching his destination. Looking at the snowy silver city below, Xiao Fan raised his eyebrows slightly. This snowy silver city looks nice, but it's a pity that it will be destroyed soon. With a slight sigh, Xiao Fan directly released the terrifying soul power without hesitation and explored deep underground in the snowy silver city. Under the scanning of Xiao Fan's powerful soul power, everything in the snowy silver city was exposed. Almost everyone in the snowy silver city was unaware, but there was only one exception. On the back hillside of the snowy silver city, there is a naturally formed stone chamber in the belly of the mountain. The spiritual energy in the stone chamber is so abundant that it actually forms a mist. In the middle of the stone chamber, there is a natural lotus platform. The former city lord of the snowy silver city, the snowy supreme Han Fengxu, is sitting on the lotus platform to practice. Suddenly, Han Fengxu stopped practicing, opened his eyes suddenly, released the power of spiritual consciousness, and sensed the surroundings. Han Fengxu sensed for a while, but did not find the intruder. He could not help but show a solemn look on his face, and said in a deep voice, "Who is the master who came to Fengxu Silver City? Please show yourself." Han Fengxu is now a venerable realm, and can also sense some things with his spiritual sense, but he cannot find Xiao Fan's position, so he can only speak to the air. Xiao Fan naturally noticed Han Fengxu's situation, but he was too lazy to pay attention to him and continued to carefully explore the deep underground of Fengxu Silver City. A quarter of an hour later, Xiao Fan's soul power suddenly sensed a sticky resistance, as if the body was trapped in a swamp. However, the soul power is not the body after all, and the resistance is very limited. Xiao Fan continued to explore deeper underground. After exploring to a depth of about 200 meters underground, Xiao Fan finally sensed an unusually huge underground palace. The palace occupies a space of more than 300 meters in radius and is more than 30 meters high. Found it. Sensing the existence of the palace, Xiao Fan was immediately delighted. He whispered in his heart and directly used his space shuttle ability to shuttle towards the palace. Xiao Fan mastered the origin of space and could use various space magics freely. Naturally, he didn't have to work hard like Jun Moxie in the original novel, drilling underground bit by bit. In an instant, Xiao Fan shuttled from the sky above Fengxu Silver City to the mysterious underground palace, the unparalleled guest of the ancient times, the first young man in the 9 netherworlds of heaven and earth. As soon as Xiao Fan entered the palace, he saw 14 large characters engraved on the stone wall of the palace. Suddenly, a scroll hung down from the stone wall, and with a pop, it fell at Xiao Fan's feet. After the scroll fell to the ground, it opened automatically, and the words inside also came into Xiao Fan's eyes. "Junzi, you are here." The content of the scroll was a letter written to Jun Moxie, just like in the original novel. Haha, it seems that the first young master of Jiuyu is not able to predict everything, but has made a layout based on certain specific situations and Jun Moxie's personality. Xiao Fan thought to himself after quickly browsing the contents of the letter. However, this is a good thing for him. After all, Xiao Fan now does not want to mess with a person of the level of the first young master of Jiuyu. Xiao Fan looked around the hall, and finally set his sights on the open space below the 14 big characters, and waved his hand casually. With a bang, a pile of dust rolled up on the ground, but the dust did not disperse, but condensed together, just like a layer of carpet being moved away. After the dust was moved away, there were 4 parts below that were slightly worn, and there was a finger-sized bulge at the location of one of the worn marks. Xiao Fan stepped on the bulge with one foot, and with a whoosh, a huge thing suddenly fell from the top of his head. It was a big bed that could accommodate hundreds of people to sleep. And this big bed was actually carved out of a huge piece of 10,000-year warm jade. 10,000 years of warm jade cures serious illnesses, cures terminal diseases, strengthens the body, prolongs life. There are countless benefits. Xiao Fan has read the original novel, so he was not surprised. He fumbled on the huge jade bed for a while and soon found a total of 8 buttons, and pressed them all. The next moment, a mechanical sound was heard in the stone hall, and 2 long corridors appeared in all directions of the stone hall. Xiao Fan was not polite, except for one place, which was obviously the bedroom left by the first young master of Jiuyu for his wives. All other places were searched. 9 pieces of warm jade heart silk taken from the heart of 100,000 years of warm jade, refined with soul fire, invulnerable to swords and guns, and impervious to water and fire, collected. Ganoderma lucidum, red fruit, snow lotus, sha wu and countless other spiritual medicines over 10,000 years old, as well as the warm and soft jade layer that nourishes the spiritual medicines, collected. The missing bead at the top of Hongjun Tower, collected. A soul-renewing jade about 3 feet wide and 40 to 50 feet long, to be precise, should be the spiritual vein of heaven and earth. Lingshi Xianru, collected. Collect the essences of the 5 attributes of gold, wood, water, fire and earth. In addition, the night-shining pearls in the stone hall, the 10,000-year warm jade bed, and everything in this underground palace were all collected by Xiao Fan in the source tower. At the same time, in the natural stone cave in the belly of the mountain, Han Fengsu suddenly realized that the concentration of the surrounding spiritual energy suddenly weakened to less than 1% of the original. The glory of Fengsu Silver City, to a large extent, comes from the spiritual energy that gushed out from the lotus platform. Now the spiritual energy on the lotus platform has suddenly become extremely thin, and Han Fengsu's heart sank to the bottom of the valley. Han Fengsu suddenly thought that someone seemed to have used divine consciousness to spy on him before, and linked the disappearance of spiritual energy to the person in the dark. Suddenly, a burst of anger surged up. "Who is playing tricks? Come out for me!" While shouting angrily, Han Fengsu kept attacking in the stone room, trying to force the hidden person out. However, Han Fengsu didn't know that the person who took away the spiritual energy was not hiding in the stone room where he was, but hundreds of meters underground. In the underground palace, Xiao Fan naturally ignored Han Fengsu's anger. After looting everything, Xiao Fan prepared to return to the heavenly punishment forest. At this moment, Xiao Fan suddenly felt an extremely dangerous feeling in his heart. Without thinking too much, he directly moved his mind and returned to the Qi world through the Wanji chat group. Chapter 171, Distribute Pills. New tips for the chat group. At an unknown distance, a handsome young man with an evil look on his body, surrounded by countless stunning girls. Suddenly the young man's expression changed slightly, and he paid attention to the direction of Fengsu Silver City and Xiaoxiao continent. This figure who looked like a young man was the famous #1 young master of Jiuyu on Xiaoxiao continent. The #1 young master of Jiuyu left Junmoy a treasure into test, which was the 5 attribute essences of gold, wood, water, fire and earth. According to the settings of the #1 young master of Jiuyu, Junmoy needed to concentrate on 5 things at the same time and absorb the 5 attribute essences to maintain a balance. However, he was worried about accidents, so he left a ray of divine thoughts to protect him. When Xiao Fan collected the 5 attribute essences of gold, wood, water, fire and earth, he directly used the power of his soul to keep them in balance at the same time, and put them all into the source tower, which was equivalent to changing the storage place and not absorbing them immediately. After Xiao Fan took them away, the #1 young master of Jiuyu noticed something, and even the original body also felt it, so he wanted to check what happened. This is also the reason why Xiao Fan suddenly felt extremely dangerous. The first young master of Jiuyu calculated a little and found that it was not Jun Moxie who took the treasure he left behind, but he could not figure out who took it. He could not help but raise his eyebrows slightly. Interesting. It seems that in addition to Junzi, I will have a new opponent in the future. As for Junzi, it seems that I can only rely on himself. Then, the first young master of Jiuyu was too lazy to pay more attention and continued to accompany his beautiful wife. The first young master of Jiuyu just wanted a good opponent. As for who this opponent was, it was not important. The first young master of Jiuyu could not calculate Xiao Fan, but made him more excited. Of course, the first young master of Jiuyu did not know that Xiao Fan had 2 plugins, the 10,000 Worlds chat group and the 10,000 Worlds sign-in system, so he naturally could not calculate it. On the other side, Xiao Fan quickly returned to the Qi world through the world shuttle function of the 10,000 Worlds chat group. In Lei, in the backyard of the auction house, Xiao Fan was relieved after returning safely. A casual glance showed that the room was empty at this moment. Ziyan and King Lin had obviously left. When Xiao Fan went to the evil lord of other worlds, he told King Lin that he had something to do and left for a while. After Ziyan finished refining the imperial pill, Xiao Fan had not returned yet, so the two of them left the room to find Yif and Zhiyan and the others. That feeling just now should have been noticed by the first young master of Jiuyu. It seems that it is better not to go to the evil lord of other worlds in the short term. Xiao Fan recalled the dangerous feeling in the evil lord of other worlds just now, and murmured in his mouth. After a slight hesitation, Xiao Fan immersed his consciousness in the chat group. Xiao Fan, at Xuyan, Miss Mai, I have something to do temporarily and came back first. I will go to your place next time I have the opportunity. The evil lord of other worlds, the center of the heavenly punishment forest. Xuyan was originally waiting for Xiao Fan to come back, and suddenly heard the movement in the 10,000 Worlds chat group. When she saw Xiao Fan's message, she didn't know why she felt a little disappointed. Mike Zuyan, at Xiao Fan, Master Xiao, I know, but what about the herbs that were just collected? Xiao Fan, just send it to me directly in the form of a red envelope. Mike Zuyan, okay, I got it. The other people in the chat group saw Xiao Fan and Mike Zuyan talking, and they also joined in. Yan Lingjai, at Xiao Fan, brother Xiao Fan, you went to see Miss Mai, right? Is Miss Mai pretty? Playful. Wan, I am also a little curious. Smirk. Xiao Fan, ahem, I didn't see Miss Mai's true face this time, but I know that Miss Mai is very beautiful. Huang Rong, why is that? Curious. Xiaoxiao, I know this. Before leaving the Heaven Punishment Forest, Miss Mai had been covering herself in a black robe for a long time. Mike Zuyan, I have been used to this for many years. I am not targeting Mr. Zhao. I can be frank with everyone when I have the chance in the future. Toshan Hongong, at Mike Zuyan, I wonder if Miss Mai can live in harmony with humans in your world? Mike Zuyan, there is a kind of balance between the Beast King and the Holy Land of humanity. As for harmony, it can't be said. Xiao Fan, at Mike Zuyan, speaking of this, you should be more careful about those guys from the three holy places. They have always wanted to remove the Tanfa forest from the list of the three holy places and even catch all the Beast Kings. Xiaoxiao, yes, the guys from the three holy places think that it was a shame for them to fight against the aliens together with the mysterious Beast King of the Tanfa forest. They think that they are now powerful and can fight against the aliens with only the three holy places. So they want to erase you and modify history to make the three holy places appear more noble, the world of the evil king of another world, the center of the Tanfa forest. Mike Zuyan's face turned very ugly when she saw Xiao Fan and Xiaoxiao's reminder. In fact, Mike Zuyan also noticed that the three holy places wanted to remove the Tanfa forest from the list of the three holy places. However, Mike Zuyan did not expect that the people from the three holy places were so shameless. Taking a deep breath and calming down, Mike Zuyan replied to the message in the group again. Mike Zuyan, at Xiao Fan, at Xiaoxiao, thank you for your reminder, Mr. Zhao and Ms. Su. I will pay more attention. Xiao Fan, at Mike Zuyan, you are welcome. In fact, the most important thing is your own strength. When you are strong enough, any ideas they have are useless. Zagbo, Lord Thunder Emperor's words are the truth of the world. Ningong Push, I also agree with this. Then, Huang Rong, Zhang Yuan and others also followed suit. Xiao Fan shook his head slightly. Seeing that there was no important news, he said something to everyone and then exited the chat group interface. Xiao Fan was going to give the 2 pills that Mike Zuyan gave him to Yif and Zhao Wu. Now Yif and Zhao Wu are only at the Duang realm, which is still not good enough in the Black Horn domain. As for King Lin, she spends most of her time in the inner courtyard, so there is no need to worry for the time being. Moreover, Xiao Fan is also going to go to the Heavenly Snake Mansion. In the original work, King Lin was in the Heavenly Snake Mansion and got a lot of resources, which allowed her cultivation to improve rapidly. Since the Heavenly Snake Mansion has made a move to snatch King Lin, Xiao Fan does not intend to let it go easily. He will prepare to clean up the Heavenly Snake Mansion in the next 2 days. Not long after, Xiao Fan found Yefei, Zhao Yixian and Ziou in the auction house. Ziyan and King Lin were also with them. Master Xiao Fan, brother Xiao Fan. Seeing Xiao Fan coming, several people greeted him happily. Xiao Fan smiled in response, and then said, I went out this time and found 2 more pills. Yefei and Ziou are going to take care of the auction house in the Black Horn region, so it is better to improve their strength. As he said that, Xiao Fan took out the 2 pills made from the fashion holy fruit. Thank you, Master Xiao Fan, brother Xiao Fan. Hearing this, Yefei and Ziou thanked him at the same time and happily took the pills. Xiao Fan said, just take it and refine it. I will protect you. By the way, here is a good poisonous spiritual medicine. Zhao Yixian, you can take it and refine it. You can also join them. Thank you, brother Xiao Fan. Zhao Yixian took the spiritual medicine and thanked Xiao Fan. Then, the 3 of them began to refine the elixir and spiritual medicine. Seeing this, Ziyan shouted, brother Xiao Fan, Where are Kinglin and I? Xiao Fan rubbed Zhu Yan's head and said with a smile, "Didn't I give you the Huangjai pill before? As for Kinglin's share, I will go out again tomorrow to help her get it back." Kinglin hurriedly said, "Master, you don't have to go out specially for me." Xiao Fan said, "It doesn't matter. I have found a good place. It's a piece of cake." While the few people were talking, the chat group prompt sound suddenly rang in Xiao Fan's mind again. Group prompt: there is an update in the chat group. Please check it yourself. Chapter 172 New function of group chat. Yay Fight Challenge. Hearing the prompt, Xiao Fan also separated a part of his mind and immersed himself in the chat group to check. Update Content 1. The function of improving cultivation with points is cancelled. Points can only be used to purchase mall items. In addition, the mall items are no longer limited to 5 items refreshed daily, and all mall items are fully open to group members. Update Content 2. Group members cannot kill each other, except for the exchange agreed by both parties. Violators will be kicked out of the chat group at the latest, and eliminated at the worst. This restriction does not include the group owner, and the group owner is the rule enforcer. Update Content 3. Group Member Protection Mechanism. When group members travel to other worlds, an invisible protective shield will automatically be generated, ignoring any level of attack. Note that when a group member actively launches an attack, the protective shield will be automatically lifted. Seeing the updated content of the chat group, Xiao Fan was somewhat happy. The cancellation of the function of improving cultivation with points has no effect on him at all. Anyway, he has not used points to improve his cultivation for a long time. After all, the points required for each small realm behind are too terrifying. Moreover, the mall is fully open and no longer limited to refreshing 5 items per day, which is also good news for him. The second update is to restrict other members, which can be ignored directly. The third update is what makes Xiao Fan the most happy. Among the myriad worlds, there are many worlds with higher levels than the Doupo world. Xiao Fan's strength is not enough to be in those terrifying worlds. The most typical example is the Zacian world where Wang Teng is. Wang Teng has joined the chat group for so long, but Xiao Fan has never been to the Zacian world, because he is worried about being attacked by the terrifying strongmen in the Zacian world, and he may not be able to come back. But now, with this protection mechanism, he can go to any world at will. Anyway, Xiao Fan's main purpose of going to other members' worlds is to sign in. As for the final restriction, he can just not take the initiative to attack. At the same time, other people in the group naturally noticed the updated content of the chat group and started to discuss it in the group. Yan Lingjai: "Oh, why is the function of using points to improve cultivation cancelled? It can't be easy to break through in the future." Zhang Yuan: "Group members cannot kill each other. This is good. It is the most friendly to weak people like me." IP Man: "This one is really good. Just as Lord Thunder Emperor said, it is fate that we all joined the same chat group from all the heavens and the worlds. It is best to live in harmony with each other, help each other, and make progress together." Zhang San: "This is a very good saying." Yan Lingjai: "Hehe, I think this one is mainly aimed at Wang Teng." So far, among all the members in the group, only Wang Teng has a high and mighty look every day, and wants to teach this and that. Let's see if he dares to threaten us. Evil Smile: "Huang Rong, it seems to be true, but it is hard to say who will join the chat group in the future. Anyway, the second update of the chat group is very good." Wang Teng: "Humphrey, when did this emperor take action against the rest of you?" Except for Xiao Fan, if this emperor took action against the rest of you, how could he still be alive now? Yan Lingjai: "That's because no one is willing to invite you to their own world." Hehe. Evil Smile: "Wang Teng, except for you who have always been against me, this emperor has not noticed anything wrong with other people." Xiaoxiao: "You two should calm down and stop arguing. I think the third update is the best. From now on, if you want to visit other members' worlds, you don't have to worry about your safety." Zhu Yuanzhang: "Ms. Su is right. For example, with my current strength, if I went to the world of Zishan or the world of Wudong, I'm afraid it would be very dangerous, but now I don't have to worry." Wan: "That's right, from now on, I can go to other worlds to play more confidently." Yubuku: except for the cancellation of the point-based cultivation upgrade. The other updates of the chat group are all protection for the weak like us. Toshan Hongnong. Yes, that's true. It's a pity for Zhang Zhenren and Miss Mai. They haven't used points to improve their cultivation yet. Mike Zuyan. It doesn't matter. Using points to buy items that improve strength in the mall will have similar effects. Zhang Santh. That's true. Xiao Fan quickly browsed through the messages of the crowd, and seeing that there was nothing special, he did not join in. He withdrew his mind from the chat group and concentrated on protecting the three girls of Xiaoxiao. Half an hour later, Xiaoxiao, Xiao Wu and Yifan broke through. After taking the elixir made from the fashion holy fruit, Yif and Xiao Wu each reached the realm of 3-starred Huang. After Xiaoxiao refined the poison, she soared from 1-starred Huang to 7-starred Huang. Master Xiao Fan, thank you, brother Xiao Fan. After the three girls broke through, they all thanked Xiao Fan. Why should we be polite? Xiao Fan smiled and responded. Afterwards, the few of them chatted for a while, and seeing that it was getting late, they had dinner together at the auction house. After dinner, Zi Yan and King Lin also stayed at the auction house to rest. As for Xiao Fan, he had been resting in the independent courtyard behind the auction house these days. Xiao Fan had just returned to the room when there was a knock at the door. Xiao Fan went forward and opened the door, only to see Yif standing at the door with a rosy face. Xiao Fan casually said, "What's wrong? Is there anything?" Yif bit her red lips slightly. Her cheeks were delicate and charming. "I lost the battle with Master Xiao Fan last time, but now my strength has improved a lot, and I want to try to fight Master Xiao Fan again." Fight? Xiao Fan was a little stunned at first, but he soon reacted and smiled. Haha, okay, I will accompany you to the end. After Xiao Fan finished speaking, he stretched out his hand to pull Yif into the room and closed the door casually. Yif's face was blushing, and she came to the bed with Xiao Fan. "Master Xiao Fan, I will help you undress." Xiao Fan naturally had no objection to this, and let Yif undress him. But Xiao Fan himself was not idle either. As the saying goes, courtesy should be reciprocated. Yif helped him, so there is no reason for him not to help Yif, right? Soon, the two of them were frank with each other, and the temperature in the room suddenly rose, making Yifi's face flushed, and even every part of her body turned red. "Master Xiao Fan." Yifi held Xiao Fan tightly and murmured, "What's wrong?" "Nothing. Nothing." "Then continue." Chapter 173, Destruction of the Sky Snake Mansion, the 100th birthday. The next morning, when the morning light shone into the room through the window, Xiao Fan also woke up slowly. Yif was like a docile kitten, curled up in his arms. Last night, the two fought several battles. Although Yif's strength has improved a lot, she is still no match for Xiao Fan. She was beaten to a pulp by Xiao Fan and has not yet fully recovered. "Master Xiao Fan, good morning." As if sensing Xiao Fan's gaze, Yif slowly opened her eyes and spoke to Xiao Fan gently. Xiao Fan smiled and said, "Good morning. Do you want to continue to rest?" Yif blushed. "No, I'd better get up. The auction house is not done yet. By the way, Master Xiao Fan, please give the auction house a name." Xiao Fan heard this, hesitated for a moment, and slowly said, "Let's call it Wanbao Auction House. It's simple and easy to remember." Yif said happily, "Wanbao Auction House, a good name." The two chatted casually for a few words, and soon they got dressed and left the room together. After breakfast, Xiao Fan told the girls and prepared to set off for the Heavenly Snake Mansion. When Zi Yan learned that Xiao Fan was going to the Heavenly Snake Mansion, she hurriedly said, "King Lin and I are going to go too. This time we are going to the Heavenly Snake Mansion to avenge King Lin and to collect King Lin's cultivation resources. Of course, we have to follow." Xiao Fan thought about it and nodded. "Okay, then I'll take you with me." "Hee, brother Xiao Fan, you are so nice." Zi Yan was very happy when she heard Xiao Fan agreed. Xiao Fan told Yif, Xiaoxiao and Xiao Wu again, and then took Zi Yan and King Lin and broke through the space and left. Although he knew the approximate location of the Heavenly Snake Mansion, he didn't know the exact location. After all, Xiao Fan used Space Shuttle twice in a row and finally arrived at the Heavenly Snake Mansion. Although the Heavenly Snake Mansion is known as the dominant force in the Northwest continent, in fact, The strongest person is only a 3-starred Zong. When the people of the Heavenly Snake Mansion saw the appearance of the space wormhole, they were immediately alert and couldn't help but feel fear in their hearts. The Lord of the Heavenly Snake Mansion even came out in person, with Beiya and other elders, standing respectfully at the exit of the space wormhole. Seeing that Xiao Fan and the other 2 people who walked out of the space wormhole were so young, everyone in the Heavenly Snake Mansion had a flash of surprise in their eyes, but they did not dare to neglect them. The Lord of the Heavenly Snake Mansion said respectfully, "I wonder what instructions this young man and the 2 girls have for coming to the Heavenly Snake Mansion?" Xiao Fan said indifferently, "Destroy the whole family." Swish. Upon hearing this, the Lord of the Heavenly Snake Mansion's face suddenly changed, and the elders of the Heavenly Snake Mansion, such as Beiya, behind him, also changed their faces and became fully alert. The Lord of the Heavenly Snake Mansion took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, "I wonder how the Heavenly Snake Mansion has offended the 3 of you?" Xiao Fan said, "Let you die knowingly." Elder Lu Man and Elder King of the Heavenly Snake Mansion went to the Black Horn region before and wanted to capture my maid. They are already waiting for you on the Yellow Spring Road. When the Lord of the Heavenly Snake Mansion heard what Xiao Fan said, he subconsciously looked at King Lin beside Xiao Fan, and soon found that the other party was unusual, and murmured, "So that's it. However, it's not so easy to destroy my Heavenly Snake Mansion." Boom. As the sound fell, the Lord of the Heavenly Snake Mansion directly released the momentum of a 3-starred Zong, and at the same time, he flew towards King Lin, wanting to capture King Lin as a hostage. At the same time, Beiya and other elders of the Heavenly Snake Mansion also attacked Xiao Fan and Zhi Yan in tacit understanding. Struggle in vain. Seeing this, Xiao Fan shook his head slightly, opened the 5 fingers of his right hand, and waved them gently in front of him. In an instant, a sea of thunder and lightning formed 3 meters in front of Xiao Fan, Zhi Yan and King Lin, swallowing up all the attacks. Not only that, the sea of thunder and lightning also enveloped the Lord of the Heavenly Snake Mansion and a group of elders at an extremely fast speed. Seeing this, the Lord of the Heavenly Snake Mansion changed his face and quickly took off to avoid the attack of the sea of thunder and lightning. The elders of the Heavenly Snake Mansion also displayed their fighting spirit wings and flew into the air. But at this moment, a huge thunder palm that covered the sky and the sun suddenly appeared above the people of the Heavenly Snake Mansion, and it slapped them fiercely. Bang! A dull sound rang out, and all the elders of the Heavenly Snake Mansion were slapped into the sea of thunder and lightning on the ground by the terrifying giant thunder palm. A series of screams rang out, and the Duang and Huang of the Heavenly Snake Mansion were soon split into charcoal by the terrifying thunder. The Lord of the Heavenly Snake Mansion stood in midair, looking at the scene below. His eyes were bloodshot, both angry and terrified, but he could only watch it all happen. Escape. Suddenly, the Lord of the Heavenly Snake Mansion woke up suddenly, and only this thought remained in his mind, and he wanted to fly far away. Xiao Fan smiled faintly. "Do you think that palm didn't hit you just now because you are strong? Come back." As soon as the voice fell, Xiao Fan opened his 5 fingers, and an illusory big hand appeared in the air again, instantly grabbing the Lord of the Heavenly Snake Mansion. In an instant, the Lord of the Heavenly Snake Mansion was grabbed in front of him, and then he used soul deterrence and began to interrogate him. Not long after, Xiao Fan interrogated what he needed, the method of cultivating the green snake 3 flower pupils, and the location of the treasure house of the Heavenly Snake Mansion. After getting what he wanted, Xiao Fan's mind moved slightly, and a soul sword slashed out, easily killing the Lord of the Heavenly Snake Mansion. Let's go see what good things are in the treasure house of the Heavenly Snake Mansion. Xiao Fan casually collected the ring of the Lord of the Heavenly Snake Mansion and the rings of several Duangs, and then said to Zhi Yan and King Lin. Zhi Yan said with some regret, "Brother Xiao Fan, you acted too quickly. I didn't have time to fight." Xiao Fan chuckled and said, "Want to fight? There will be plenty of opportunities in the future. Now let's collect the treasures of the Heavenly Snake Mansion." "Okay." Zhi Yan heard that and could only nod in agreement. King Lin naturally had no objection to Xiao Fan's words. Immediately, the 3 of them went to the treasure house of the Heavenly Snake Mansion. As for those ordinary disciples of the Heavenly Snake Mansion, They did not kill them all. Not long after, the three of them found the treasure house of the heavenly snake mansion. After looting it, Xiao Fan took King Lin and Zhu Yan, broke through the space wormhole again, and returned to Wanbao auction house. Xiao Fan taught King Lin the method of cultivating the green snake's 3 flower pupils, and gave her a lot of resources, allowing her to stay in the backyard of the auction house to practice and improve herself. As for Zhu Yan, after staying in the auction house for 2 days, she felt that it was boring. After asking Xiao Fan for some elixirs, she returned to Canaan College. Xiao Fan continued to stay in the auction house, instructing the women to practice, and he also practiced by the way. Time is like running water, passing in a flash. Soon, it was the day of Zhang Sanfeng's 100th birthday. The Wanji chat group was also lively again, and basically everyone was discussing this matter. Xiao Fan was practicing, and he sensed that someone in the chat group at him, so he stopped practicing and immersed his consciousness in the chat group. Chapter 174, Gathering in Yudang. All the major sects changed their faces. Chat interface of the 10,000 Worlds chat group. Xiaoxiao, at Zhongsan. Master Zhang, today is your 100th birthday, right? I want to join in the fun. Is that okay? Zhongsan, at Xiaoxiao. Of course you can. Welcome Ms. Su to our world. I will invite you now. Yubuku, at Zhongsan. Master Zhang, I also want to see the style of the martial arts predecessors and celebrate your birthday. Zhongsan, Master Yu is also welcome to come. If other friends want to come, please let me know. I will invite everyone to come. Yan Lingjai, I don't know if Brother Xiao Fan will go. If Brother Xiao Fan goes, I will go too. Yan Lingjai, at Xiao Fan. Brother Xiao Fan, do you want to go to Zhang Sanfeng's world to celebrate his birthday? Xiao Fan sensed that someone added him, and it was Yan Lingjai's last message. Xiao Fan's consciousness moved slightly, and he quickly read the messages in the group, and then responded. Xiao Fan, at Yan Lingjai, of course I will go. Xiao Fan, at Zhang San, Master Zhang is celebrating his 100th birthday. I will go to join in the fun. Yan Lingjai, since Brother Xiao Fan is going, I will go too. Hehe. Qian Renksu, I will go to see it too. Kankan, and me, I want to see what the so-called righteous martial artists will do for the whereabouts of the dragon-slaying sword. Smirk, Linjiayu, I have nothing to do today, so I will go to celebrate Master Zhang's birthday. Zhang Yuan, and me, I will go too. Raise your hand. Soon, all the members of the group expressed their intention to go to the Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber world to celebrate Zhang Sanfeng's birthday and join in the fun. This time, even Wang Tang said he would go. Compared with the previous group gathering, this time it was more complete. Zhang Sanfeng naturally welcomed this and directly invited everyone. The Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber world. The back mountain of Yudang sect. Zhang Sanfeng walked out of a simple wooden house, carefully observing the surroundings, wanting to see how the group members from other worlds would appear. Buzz. At this moment, Zhang Sanfeng suddenly found that not far in front of him, an illusory light gate appeared out of thin air. Then, a fiery red enchanting figure stepped out of the light gate and soon landed in front of Zhang Sanfeng. Seeing this scene, Zhang Sanfeng couldn't help but show surprise in his eyes, thinking to himself, this chat group is indeed magical. Zhang Sanfeng stepped forward, bowed to the newcomer, and said with a smile, forgive me for my poor eyesight, but which one of you is this lady? The enchanting figure smiled and said, I am Yan Lingjai. Are you the Zhang Sanfeng? You really look like a master. Zhang Sanfeng smiled and said, it turns out to be Miss Yan Lingjai. Yes, I am Zhang Sanfeng, but I dare not call myself a master. Welcome Miss Yan Lingjai. Yan Lingjai was impatient and liked to join in the fun. After receiving Zhang Sanfeng's invitation, she was the first to come. Just as the two were talking, an illusory light gate appeared again in the air not far from them, and Xiao Fan in a green shirt stepped out of it. Brother Xiao Fan, you are here. When Yan Lingjai saw Xiao Fan coming, she threw Zhang Sanfeng aside and ran towards Xiao Fan with cheers. Zhang Sanfeng also stepped forward and bowed to Xiao Fan. Welcome young Master Xiao to visit Yudang. Xiao Fan nodded slightly. I have heard of Master Zhang for a long time, and today we are lucky to meet. Zhang Sanfeng hurriedly said, Young Master Xiao was too kind. Just at this time, Zhang San's seventh disciple Mo Shengu hurried over to their back mountain. "Greetings, Master." Mo Shengu bowed to Zhang San, and then asked curiously, "Master, who are these two?" Zhang San smiled and said, "These two are the two distinguished guests I told you about yesterday. There will be many more distinguished guests coming later. Tell your eldest brother and others not to neglect them." "Yes, Master." Mo Shengu agreed respectfully, and then said, "Master, the people from the 5 major sects are all here. Several senior brothers are receiving them in front. Let me invite you to come over. What do you think?" Zhang San was about to say something, but he saw the illusory light gates appear again in the air, and this time there were several light gates at once. A figure walked out of each illusory light gate. When Mo Shengu saw this scene, his eyes widened in shock. Zhang San looked at Mo Shengu and said in a gentle voice, "Shengu, don't worry, they are all my friends and the most distinguished guests of Wudang sect today. You go first." "Yes, disciple, take your leave." Mo Shengu bowed to Zhang San, and then gestured in the direction of Xiao Fan and Yan Lingjai, and then left slowly with a feeling of doubt. At this time, Su Xiaoxiao, Huang Rong, Qian, Ling Qingzu, Dao Longnu and others also walked out of the light gate and landed beside Xiao Fan, Yan Lingjai and Zhang San. Zhang San bowed to everyone and said, "Welcome everyone to Wudang Mountain." Everyone exchanged some pleasantries and got to know each other, and then Zhang San invited everyone to follow him to the Zhenwu Hall, the front hall of Wudang sect. Wudang sect, Zhenwu Hall. At this time, the place was already bustling with people. The 4 major sects, Shilin, Mi, Kunlun, and Kongdong, were all present, except for the Mi sect, which was led by the extinct disciple Master Jingsu. The other 3 sects were all represented by their leaders. In addition to these 4 major sects, there were also people from many other gangs, such as the Shenkun sect, the Heisha sect, the Jujing gang, and the Washan sect. When Xiao Fan and Zhang San arrived at the Zhenwu Hall, they only heard Kongzi from the Shaolin Temple say in a deep voice, "Today, all the heroes of the martial arts world have gathered in Wudang to celebrate the birthday of Master Zhang, but Master Zhang is not showing up." Wu Lian Tanzun. Zhang San waved his whisk, his sleeves fluttering, and stepped into the Zhenwu Hall. Xiao Fan and others also entered the Zhenwu Hall of Wudang sect with Zhang San. Swish. Seeing Zhang San and Xiao Fan's arrival, everyone in the Zhenwu Hall turned their attention to them, feeling the powerful aura of Wang Teng, Dong Ba, Mai Xuyan and others. The expressions of the people from various sects changed. "Greetings, Master." Song Yuanqiao and the other 6 Wudang heroes stepped forward and bowed to Zhang San. Zhang San nodded slightly, and then said, "Everyone around me is a distinguished guest of Wudang sect. You should also bow together." Hearing this, Song Yuanqiao and his 6 fellow disciples bowed to Xiao Fan and others without any hesitation. "Meet the distinguished guests. Please take your seats." After Song Yuanqiao finished speaking, he waved his hand, and immediately a Wudang Taoist child pulled open the curtain decorated on one side of the hall. Behind the curtain were 19 chairs. The position of that chair was exactly the first guest seat, and even the position of the 3 great monks of Shilin sect was moved to the back. Seeing this scene, the faces of the people from Shilin, Kunlun, and Kongdong sects were not very good. Xiao Fan and others ignored it and sat down in the first guest seat. After Xiao Fan and his group sat down, Zhang San sat down in his seat and looked at the Shilin sect's seat in the hall. 3 Shilin monks have come to Wudang and specifically asked to see me. I wonder what they want to teach me? In the original novel, Zhang San was quite polite to the 3 Shilin monks. He also treated He Taekong and the Kongdong 5 elders with courtesy. However, Zhang San now knew what was going to happen next, so he didn't want to be polite with them. Chapter 175. The heroes are shocked, and blood is also festive. Kanwen said, "Master Zhang, I am your junior in terms of age and seniority. Apart from celebrating your birthday, I should not bring up anything else today, but I am the head of the Shilin sect, and I dare not forget my official duties because of personal matters." Zhang San said calmly, "Master Kanwen, just tell me directly." Kanwen stood up, bowed to Zhang San, and said, In addition to celebrating Master Zhang's birthday, we are here to ask Zhang Qiushan and Zhang Wuxia two things. Zhang Sanfeng looked at Zhang Qiushan on the side and said leisurely, Qiushan, since Master Conwen is asking, you should come forward and answer. Yes, Master, Zhang Qiushan responded respectfully, and then stepped forward to stand opposite Abbot Conwen, bowed and said, I wonder which two things Master Conwen wants to ask me. Conwen said, first, Zhang Wuxia killed 71 people from the Longmen escort agency of my Shilin sect, and also shot dead 6 Shaolin monks. How should the lives of these 77 people be ended? Second, my senior brother Master Kong Jian was kind and virtuous all his life, and never quarreled with others, but he was tragically killed by the Golden Lion King Zigzhan. I heard that Zhang Wuxia knows the whereabouts of Z. Please give me some advice. Zhang Qiushan said loudly, Master Kongwen, the lives of the 77 people from the Longmen escort agency and the Shaolin monks were not caused by me. Xiao Fan sat quietly aside, watching Zhang Qiushan's argument, just smiling without saying a word. In his previous life, Xiao Fan saw many people on the internet saying that Zhang Qiushan seemed to be the protagonist of the Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber, and he did have some style. However, no matter how well he speaks, in the end, I am afraid he will have to rely on his strength to speak. People from various major sects came all the way to Yudang sect, not to have a debate with Zhang Qiushan. Suddenly, Xiao Fan raised his eyebrows slightly, sensing that there were 3 Yuras approaching outside the hall. 2 of them were filled with cold air. If nothing unexpected happened, they must be the 2 Xuanming elders. Among them, there was a handsome boy with an anxious look on his face. He was Zhang Wuji, the sons of Zhang Qiushan and Yin Susu. Daddy, Zhang Wuji took advantage of the moment when the 2 Xuanming elders were not paying attention and shouted into the hall. Zhang Qiushan was surprised and happy when he heard his son's voice, and shouted loudly, Wuji, you are back. Zhang Qiushan shouted while running out of the hall. Seeing this, the people from the major sects thought that Zhang Qiushan was going to escape, and hurried forward to stop him, shouting, Zhang Qiushan, where are you running to? Zhang Qiushan had just walked out of the hall when he was stopped by everyone on the steps outside the hall. He looked around, but did not see Zhang Wuji's figure. He shouted, Wuji, Wuji. However, no one responded. At this time, Yin Susu heard Zhang Qiushan calling Zhang Wuji, and ran out from the back hall, saying anxiously, Fifth brother, Wuji is back? Zhang Qiushan said, I just heard Wuji's voice, but when I chased him out, he disappeared again. Yin Susu was stunned when she heard this, and said disappointedly, I think you miss your child and heard it wrong. Xiao Fan chuckled at this time and said, Fifth hero Zhang was not wrong. There was indeed a child calling daddy just now. He was being caught by 2 old men dressed as Mongolian warriors. It should be the Wuji you are talking about, right? Zhang Qiushan was surprised and happy when he heard this. Master Zhao, can you find out where they are now? Zai Huazi of Kunlun sect jumped out and said, Don't act anymore. Don't you want to take the opportunity to let Zhang Qiushan escape? We will never allow it. Yes, we must not let Zhang Qiushan leave. We must make him tell us the whereabouts of Zigzhan. When the others heard Zai Huazi's words, they also echoed. Crack! At this time, a lightning bolt suddenly appeared in the hall and instantly struck Zai Huazi. Ah! Zai Huazi screamed, and soon he was struck by lightning and turned into charcoal. Hiss! In the Zhenwu Hall, other heroes in the Yishan world could not help but take a breath of cold air and were extremely frightened. They didn't understand why Zai Huazi was suddenly struck by lightning. This was naturally done by Xiao Fan, who killed Zai Huazi with a lightning bolt. Xiao Fan said leisurely, When I am talking, I don't like people to interrupt casually, and they are talking nonsense. You did it. He Taekong of Kunlun sect heard this and immediately glared at Xiao Fan. Just now, He Taekong saw Zai Huazi being struck to death by lightning and thought it was a natural phenomenon. When he learned that it was done by Xiao Fan, he was immediately furious. The people from other sects looked at Xiao Fan with fear. Even the people of Yudang sect were shocked. Xiao Fan glanced at He Taekong casually and said calmly, Why, you want to go underground with him? Dang dang dang. He Taekong was frightened by Xiao Fan's glance, as if he had seen a ferocious beast. He took 7 or 8 steps back before he could barely stabilize his body. Seeing this, the others were even more in awe of Xiao Fan. You know, among all the people from various sects gathered in Yudang, apart from the 3 great monks of Shilin, the strongest were He Taekong and his wife from Kunlun. How could the strong He Taekong be scared away by Xiao Fan's eyes? If the others faced Xiao Fan, how could they survive? Yan Lingjai said with a smile. He, brother Xiao Fan is so domineering. He scared people away with just one look. Wang Tang said proudly, they are just a bunch of ants. If I want, I can crush them all to death. Huang Rong said, any one of us can crush them all to death. But today is Zhang San's birthday after all. It is not good to make the Yudang sect a river of blood. Wan Wan smiled and said, a river of blood and red everywhere. That is also very festive. Lin Jiayu advised, not that bad. There are still many of them who do not deserve to die. Yu Bukun and Yi Wen followed and said, Master Lin is right. The others just watched silently and did not say anything. In the Zhenwu Hall, the people from the major sects listened to the discussions of Yan Lingjai, Huang Rong and others, and were suddenly shocked and angry. They wanted to go forward immediately to let them see how powerful they were. However, no one dared to be the first to do so. They all turned their attention to the direction of the 3 great monks of Shilin, obviously waiting for Shilin to take the lead. As the leader of the martial arts world, Shilin could not just retreat. Kong Wen thought about it and had to bite the bullet and step forward to Zhang San, saying, Master Zhang, how should we end today's matter? Please give me some advice. He Taekong was shocked by Xiao Fan's eyes and retreated repeatedly. He was both angry and frightened. Thinking of the sudden lightning attack just now, he couldn't help but hesitate. Seeing Kong Wen standing up, He Taekong's mind turned for a while, and finally he resisted the idea of taking the lead. It's not too late to talk about Zigzum's matter later, Zhang San replied lightly, and then said to Xiao Fan, Mr. Zhao, if you know the location of Wuji, please give me some pointers. I will be grateful. Haha, wait a moment. Xiao Fan chuckled and slightly opened the 5 fingers of his right hand. The next moment, a transparent illusory hand suddenly appeared in the hall and quickly grabbed in a certain direction outside the hall. Seeing this scene, the heroes in the Zhenwu Hall were shocked again and were even more awed by Xiao Fan. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.